But the reason I'm smiling is I cannot tell you the reason. So let me introduce you to the beautiful, guapa, intelligent Filipina that I was fortunate enough to meet. It's now 2.5 years ago. Actually, it's almost exactly 2.5 years. We met April 21st, but we communicated since January 21st of 2016. So this is the lovely Daisy May, who watches me do these crazy live streams, but today it's not going to be a crazy live stream. Today we're going to do a political commentary on the truth about Google and what they have done to my 17,000 subscribers. Mr. Obama, but we may not bring the presence of Mr. Obama in via the dolls. Mr. Trump, who you all have some sort of belief as to what I feel about Mr. Trump, but you don't actually know what I think about Mr. Trump. And I will tell you what I really feel about Mr. Trump today. Okay. So with no further ado, this is the lovely Daisy May, who has been my girl Daisy May, my guapa cat, which means beautiful girl. Yeah. Do you have anything to say?
Good morning, everyone.
And
amping me,
which means
take care always.
That's right. Amping me. Now Daisy has been a little bit reluctant to teach me Visaya, but she taught me a few words in the last few days. One of them is abut lang, which means I don't know, which is a perfect word as to why I don't know abut lang, why Daisy hasn't been teaching me Visaya. But soon, maybe in a year or so, I may be able to speak a few sentences, yeah? Because of my new Visaya instructor.
Yeah.
Say hello to the people in your language.
No.
No. Say something that's important to you.
They
want to hear it. Come on. Palihog, please. Palihog.
Nothing, eh? Good morning, everyone.
In your language.
Maayong buntag kaninyong tanan, mga kapamilya.
And that means? So, what? What does it mean? What does it mean?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, family. Like something like that. Kapamilya.
Kapamilya? See, she's teaching me already. So, you want to go take care of that other thing over there?
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
You think she's shy? You should listen to her talk to her mother. They ramble on for about 45 minutes non-stop. The Filipinos, between them, amongst themselves, they have, I would say that Daisy's phone call to her mother on Sunday night had more words in it than Daisy has spoken to me since my 63rd birthday back in September. But when it comes to speaking English, the Filipino women are very shy to speak English, which is different than me. So now that we have the introductions out of the way, I want to tell you what my political comedy has done to my channel and for my channel. My political opinions about Mr. Trump, Mr. Obama, and Miss Clinton are also going to be portrayed in this segment of reality. We're going to do reality politics today because the reality of it is the reason I introduced Daisy May in the beginning of this video was because I moved to the Philippines because I saw the way the politicians of America were destroying America. There cannot be any doubt that since the time I grew up and the time that exists now in America, they're two different Americas. And what I saw Mr. Obama doing to America, I didn't agree with. And I didn't see that an end to what Mr. Obama was doing to America. I never saw where this was going to end. All I saw was Clinton next in line to be president. Now, taking that aside, I knew I was going to move to the Philippines since 1981 when I dated a Filipina when I lived in California. I knew that was where I was going to retire. I didn't know where I was going to live, but I knew that was going to be the case. So, but by 2010, I was convinced that America was going to be completely changed. And it's because Mr. Obama's campaign, these campaign slogans are not happenstance, just like nothing in politics happens by accident. Now, when Obama's political statement was hope and change, that basically he was telling you just the opposite of what was going to happen to America, that there was no hope and the would-be change would not be good for America. You see, this is the political doublespeak that people don't understand. They tell you what they're going to do. You see, there is a plan. There's a plan behind politics. The politicians themselves, you could base all of politics on George Carlin's comedy, which was not comedy. It was fact. When he described that politicians aren't elected, they're selected, and it's a big club and you ain't in it, that sums up all of politics in and of itself in just a few sentences. He was telling you the truth. Now, when Mr. Obama's hope and change slogan kicked in, I knew there was no hope and change, because another one of Mr. Obama's failed policies were fundamentally change America. But was it a failed policy? No. The answer, in my opinion, is no. It was a direct statement that he was going to fundamentally change America. And he did, except, in my opinion, he did it. His fundamental change was to destroy America. There can be no doubt about that now. If anybody looks back at the Obama regime and thinks that Obama was good for America, there's a psychosis going on inside your head that doesn't allow you to see the truth. Now, if Obama's, I just had breakfast, and I had we eat mostly vegetables and greens, and one of the greens is lodged in my esophagus. If Obama's fundamentally changing America policy was so great, he would still have a following. But I just looked at some video on YouTube of Mr. Obama's rally. It had less than 500 people there, whereas Mr. Trump's rally was last week registered at about the 100,000 mark. But digressing from the amount of people, and Clinton, I read someplace, I watched the video somewhere where they actually pay people $15 to attend a Clinton rally when she was running for office. So, and her political rallies were just numbering less than 1,000 on average in many places. So people don't really want Clinton or Obama anymore. And they want what Trump represents. But Trump only represents what he is allowed to say. So in a matter of fact, Trump's policies will save America. I say vote red all the way. Trump's policies are going to save America. It's going to give America a few more years, but that's it. America, the future of America has been already written in stone, so to speak. And this just one thing, Georgia Guidestones comes to my mind. If you read what's on the Georgia Guidestones, that is what they want for the population of this world. 500 million people on the planet, totally controllable by means of economics and or what they can afford to eat for food or what they're allowed to have for food. This is not my viewpoint. This is what the New World Order, and it does exist. The New World Order has a destiny for America. They've always had a destiny for America. The Illuminati is working hand in hand with the New World Order. The Vatican is working hand in hand with the New World Order and the Illuminati. These three entities that I just mentioned as an entity, they exist. Don't make any mistake about this. History, if there is a history, if there is a history to look back on and history tells the truth, you're going to see that my discoveries and my proofs in my book, Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio, are going to be looked at as prophecy, not speculation, which is why I wrote the book under the heading of nonfiction. The Vatican, as it stands right now, controls America, and it controls the Bank of England, and it controls the biggest religion in the West. Had the Vatican not agreed with any party affiliation of any candidate, they would lose based on the fact that America is primarily a Christian nation. But the Vatican stays out of politics. You see, here's the biggest lie that you're ever going to hear in your entire life. And I'm going to tell you what the lie is, and I'm going to tell you how I proved it to be false. Separation of church and state. Have you ever heard that? Has anybody here ever heard the terminology separation of church and state? It's a lie. The Vatican formed the biggest religion in Europe, and they moved their power of dominance to America when America was formed as well. The founding fathers supposedly used the Bible to come up with many of their ideologies, but the Vatican controls America. And this is done the same way a general has a certain amount of brass on his chest, and I don't know what they call that, and stripes on his arms, as opposed to a private. Okay, a private has one stripe. I don't even know. Okay, I was never in the military, and I never wanted to be in the military. But a private has just one designation. But a general has many designations on his uniform. So therefore, the general's designations on his uniform are larger in size, and they're more important. Well, if you took a look at any picture, the main theme of the picture might not necessarily be centered in the middle of the picture, but the main theme is somehow highlighted. Could be with light, could be with the setting in the background, could be done a lot of different ways. But the main character in the picture is the focus of the picture. And usually it's the biggest part of the picture, or the most, maybe the brightest, or the most colorful. Well, they did the same thing when they created the dollar bill. The Vatican, the Illuminati, the Brotherhood of Masonry, the powers that and principalities that control this world did the same thing on the American dollar bill. They put on the front of the dollar bill, they put George Washington. Now, they did this for a reason, and it's over 100 pages in my book. My book is 1,990 pages in an ebook form, and it is 1,770 pages in the Kindle Reader format. And it's available for $1.99 on Amazon.com. They did pictography. It's a science. It's an art, pictography. If you want to show something as more important than something else, you either put it in a larger format or a different or a brighter color. Well, they did this pictography on the dollar bill. When I say they, I'm going to go back into before the Great Pyramid was built, whatever controlled this world in a previous existing civilization that we have now. That's all described on the dollar bill itself. A previous existing civilization of beings. I'm not saying they're human and I'm not saying they're alien, but there is something that has controlled this world for billions of years. They had the ability to create the most complex pictograph in all of history, and then they had the ability to put that pictograph on the dollar bill. And then they also had an ability that's almost what I call the almost incomprehensible plan in my book. They took the pictures from the dollar bill, the pictographs on the dollar bill, and associated them with the words in the King James Bible, which just so happens to have been written by Sir Francis Bacon, edited from, or basically edited from 1604 to 1611. And that became the King James Bible, who was basically edited and rewritten by a Mason. Because these people that represent themselves as Masons and represent themselves as the Illuminati and represent themselves as the Pope and the Church, these people are just the representatives of the beings that control this world. And don't make any mistake about it. They do control this world. And now their plan, digressing back to George Washington on the dollar bill, this is the plan. This is what I've proven in my book. In all of your life, many of the people that are watching my live stream right now may have never heard this before, unless you read my book. You can take a dollar bill out of your pocket and show them George Washington, and then show them the back of the dollar bill, and then hand them the dollar bill and say, please show me an omega symbol on the dollar bill. And they can't, because they don't know what an omega symbol is, perhaps. But if they knew what an omega symbol was and the proper dimensions of an omega symbol, if they knew that, they still can't show you the omega symbol on the dollar bill. Why? Because they stuck it in your face around George Washington's portrait. Why did they put that there? It's a pictograph. The pictograph is of George Washington's portrait in the omega symbol, which is always represented as I am the Alpha and I am the Omega, the beginning and the end. And this is where the Georgia Guidestones and the rest of my political commentary comes in. The United States was formed to create a slave population. Don't make any mistake about it. The United States was once again the primary objective in today's world to form a society of peoples that would eventually become a source of stores for the beings that control this world, which I don't actually believe are not destined to remain on this planet. I don't even believe they have boundaries as far as planetary travel is concerned. I believe that the Earth is a source of stores for these beings that travel the universe, that created the dollar bill, with an amazing and the most amazing pictograph that was ever created that associates itself with the words in the Bible. I don't believe the story behind the dollar bill, just like I don't, and how it was created, and just like I don't believe what politicians say, because I know different. Okay, I know that something otherworldly or something that we wouldn't consider human created the dollar bill. I proved it. Once Google realized that I proved it, they destroyed my view counts. I was getting tens of thousands of views a day on every one of my videos, 1.3 million a month. My videos were going global and worldwide. And then they took my channel down for some copyright infringements with music you couldn't even hear in the background. I also got a strike for I had said something that would not have been deemed so derogatory, but Google said, well, it broke their guidelines. And I had 3 strikes altogether on my first channel when I was receiving 1.3 million plus views a month and collecting $3,850 a month of income on average. That's what I really made a month from Google and YouTube. When I put my new channel back up, this is the power of Google. The videos average small amounts of views, less than 500 views on a video that got 3 million views on my first channel, or several million views. The first 3 videos got several million views. I put them back as the first 3 uploads on my channel, and now I don't think the 3 of them have 3,000 views between the 3 of them. Why? Because I told you the truth. Just like I'm telling you the truth that the United States was created by these entities as a food source for their needs. Could be, and when I say a food source, it's not limited to food only. It's the the things that they need to create their infrastructure, whatever it is. Could be platinum. We only mention platinum and gold and titanium because those 3 metals are supposed to be what we call precious metals. There may be other things that they need, that they mine, that we don't even know about. 1 billion tons of soil comes out of the ground and rock, and what's mined out of it with chemicals, we don't even know what all of those substances are and why we need them, or why they collect them. We may never know. There could be laboratories under the ground that just process certain things into a completely different product, something else on the element scale. So we have become a slave nation to these entities, and these entities control the Vatican and the American government and the Bank of England. Now, going back one more time, and the last time, to George Washington, if any of you people took the time to take a dollar bill out of your pocket, did you find the omega symbol on the dollar bill that I discussed that's around George Washington's portrait? If you did, fine, but most of you don't even know what an omega symbol is or what it represents, which I'm going to state again. It's the alpha. It's usually associated with the words alpha and omega. I am the beginning and I am the end. God said this. The Hebrew God said this. I am the beginning and I am the end. And George Washington represents the beginning of America as we know it in today's world and the end. He's the first president, although that's arguable because there were other people that were supposed to be presidential before him. None of those 7 to 9 people matter at all. What matters is they used him as the first president of the United States on the dollar bill. So if he is the alpha, I am the beginning, and the omega symbol is on the dollar bill wrapped around George Washington, which it goes like this, and it's 2 scale. That's the proper Greek omega symbol. I am the end. I am the beginning, Alpha, George Washington, and I am the end, the Omega symbol. I am the beginning and I am the end. George Washington, as the beginning of America, represents the beginning of today's society as we know it, recorded history. I am the end is when George Washington and or paper money is removed from today's society and turned into electronic money that you can only get by putting the mark of the beast in your forehead or your hand. The world, as you know it, won't come to an end, but it will cease to exist. One phase of this history will cease to exist. With robotics, now that Mr. Trump is bringing into America via Japanese companies and Chinese companies and companies in Korea with their robotics putting people out of work. This is the end of civilization. You just don't see it. They pump it out as progression. No, no, no. Eventually, paper money will be completely gone. There won't be paper money. Somebody will use a dollar bill to mark their place in the Bible, or maybe they'll use them as bookmarks. But once that happens, the end of this world is very imminent. The Georgia Guidestones and the 500 million people that they wish to have as a world's population, it's not a fantasy. It's their goal. Now, it may not be 500 million, but most of us won't be around to see how many it is. And the people that are going to be around to see what's going to happen or how many people are die off from starvation, from chemical poisoning, from fluoride, the dumbing down where they won't even see that the population's being destroyed. This world is about to end. This isn't a doomsday prophecy. This is the plan that the Illuminati, the New World Order, and the Vatican has always known about, because whatever controls those three organizations controls the world. And the world doesn't start and stop at America. It's the world. Okay? The leaders of these countries know all about this. Putin and whoever's in charge of China and Korea, these people know what I just said to you is the truth. They might even look at some form of one of my videos where I talk about the Illuminati and the dollar bill, and look, they say, look at that guy. He's a carpenter from Queens, and he figured this all out. And I did. This is not political commentary. This is fact. It's all. Now, we're not even going to go, I'm not going to mention the Georgia Guidestones as the only place of reference to this. It's on the dollar bill. The world begins as we know it. Time immemorial goes back to the building of the Great Pyramid and no further. That's 12,000 years old. Although the Vatican lies to you and tells you it can't be 12,000 years old, it could only be 6,000 years old, because the Vatican or Christianity's history dates back 4,000 years. So they say the Great Pyramid has to be 4,000 years old or less, but that can't be the truth, because this is how the Vatican lies to you, and this is how the Vatican controls thought processes amongst the bleeding hearts of religion. The spaghetti monster in the sky has control over the people's thoughts to such a large degree. It's sickening when you look at religion as it stands. If it could, it's all what my friend Scott Del Fuego calls what's the name of that? Bakuti Theater? What? I forget the name. Scott, honey, yeah, where's my phone? Okay. Kabuki Theater. Japanese theater. It's like watching a Japanese movie with the words on or the words off. It means nothing. Kabuki theater? I'm not sure. Kabuki theater. But it's all Kabuki theater, all religion. So anyway, getting back to the Vatican. Okay. The Vatican says the Great Pyramid. This is how the Vatican control of a religion. I'm going someplace with the Vatican in politics. So the Vatican control of religion and the Vatican control of politics, and they do. Now, if the Vatican says that the Great Pyramid's only 4,000 years old, how can this be? It's such a load of malarkey. It's a bologna sandwich with no mustard. Okay, it's garbage. How can the most complex structure aligned with north and south and perfectly centered in the largest landmass on that side of the Earth? We call it Earth today, although the Earth is flat. We'll call it. How could the largest, most complex structure in all of building history have been created by a civilization of people that the Vatican says that God created, and then a few years later they built the Great Pyramid? Who built it? Number one. Why was it built? Number two. The Vatican completely leaves out that piece of information of history. The Vatican never mentions the Great Pyramid in the Bible. It does. In one Bible, it's represented as the Great White Stone in the desert. And that's the only reference to the pyramid, because originally it was covered with a shiny quartz covering that shone, and you were supposed to be able to see it from 90 miles or 180 kilometers away. And on top of it, it had a golden structure on top. Okay, so the Vatican's telling you that the most complex and the biggest structure on Earth for several thousand years was created by people that were just basically descendants of Adam and Eve. Now, there's a story for you. So Adam and Eve, and they had thousands and millions of children, and within a few years, they had all of this stuff happen, and then they built the Great Pyramid, and then after that, they could never duplicate that process again. That's the Vatican lying to you. But being that the Vatican is controlled, and here's how it relates to politics, where I started with the separation of church and state, that's a lie. Because the biggest, like I said, with the private has one stripe, and the general has many stripes and much brass and whatever they have on their war dress. Okay, they have more. On the dollar bill, the pictographs are associated the same way. The smallest pictographs that exist are the pictograph of the number 1. Okay, and then you move up to there's thousands of pictographs on the dollar bill. If you fold it and put light behind it and shine light, like I show you in the book that I wrote, which the link is available on my homepage, you can go review the book and review the reviews. Nobody's ever complained about it. Nobody ever made a video, ever, not since 2010. Not one video has ever been made critiquing my book as ridiculousness or nonsense. People try to refute my findings, but they can't. And if they think they can, I still have a $10,000 challenge that says they can't. But digressing back to the general and the private, on the dollar bill, it's the same thing. The pictographs, by the size of their nature, represent the main topic. So George Washington's portrait is the primary portrait. He is the alpha. He represents the alpha, and the omega symbol is around him. So that's the primary concept of the dollar bill. On the front of the dollar bill is the alpha and the omega. So George Washington is the alpha, the beginning, but the omega symbol says it will end. And what it means is when George Washington's portrait and or paper money is no longer a viable way to do business, that's the end of the United States and the world as we know it. And they'll do that when they enter into the age of robotics. and automation, which is already putting millions of people in the world out of business and creating the welfare state. Digressing back to the pictographs on the dollar bill, on the reverse of the dollar bill, the George Washington sign is known as the obverse. The reverse is known as the green side, but actually it's not green. But in any event, whatever you perceive it to be, it's the green side of the dollar bill. The green side of the dollar bill has another few thousand pictographs, as does the front. The obverse and the reverse, they both have thousands of individual pictographs, and you can fold the dollar bill in configurations that only supercomputers that don't exist could have created. And then when you associate those pictographs with the words in the Bible, that's just not possible. So the pictographs on the back of the dollar bill are the Yale skull and bones. Honey, when you're done in the kitchen, could you find me the Yale skull and bones poster, please? Thank you. I'll show you those pictographs in a minute. So the pictographs of that represent the Bank of England is in fact the Skull and Bones Society, because they basically formed the Bank of England or the square mile of London. Okay, now that's a certain size. The skull and bones itself is about the size of a match head. I had to blow it up several hundred times for you to see the skull and bones itself, the face of the skull and bones. But the skull and bones face pictograph itself is inside a nose of a hog-nosed bat. Thanks. Okay, just put this. I'll just put this down. Just put it down over here. Thank you. The skull and bones itself is inside the nose of a hog-nosed bat, which was the original logos for the Skull and Bones Society. So that's one pictograph, and I'll show you that pictograph right now. And what you can see of it, I don't know because of the lighting. This isn't necessarily a video. Here you have, hold on a minute. Here you have, when you fold the bill like that, and this is a little distorted because just the way the poster itself looks, but there's a skull and bones right there. When you fold the dollar bill, and this, let me try to get this a little closer, to be a little less distortion. Right there. There's a skull and bones. On the bottom of the skull and bones is 6 teeth. And there's on the top row is 6 teeth, and then 6 lines comprise the eyes that you can see under a microscope and or a very good magnifying glass. The 6, and the 6 represent 666, the Illuminati, and now the Vatican. And if you'll notice, one eye is closed, which represents the Illuminati. If you notice that the skull and bones is inside what appears to be 3 rings. So you have 666, which adds up to 18, and you have these 3 semicircles around it, which is the number 3. So you have 18 and 3. And then immediately to the left and right of the skull and bones eyes, you have 2 white figures, or 2 white pictographs. You have the number 1832. 18 lines and teeth, 3 semicircles, contiguous lines, and 2 on each side of the eyes, 1832. If I back it up a little bit, you see the face of a hog-nosed bat. The skull is inside a nose of the hog-nosed bat. If I back it up all the way, now you see the wingspan of the hog-nosed bat. The wingspan of the hog-nosed bat, I'm having a little trouble here. Hold on a minute. I got to lock this down. The wingspan of the hognose bat is 2 3/8 of an inch. The actual length of a full-size hognose bat, not the wingspan of the hognose bat, but the length from the nose to the tail. If you look it up, hognose bat, the size of the average hognose bat is 2 3/8 of an inch. So they put this on the dollar bill to scale of one of the measurements that control the world, aka the Bank of England, or the square mile of London, okay, which is a sovereign nation, just like the District of Columbia is a sovereign nation, and the Vatican, Rome, is a sovereign nation. Okay, this is one sovereign nation represented on the dollar bill. This proves that not only do they exist, but they put this in your face if you know how to discern what a pictograph is. All these other things that are colored are other pictographs. The second pictograph that says that the Vatican controls America is this. But it's not the primary pictograph that tells you that the Vatican controls America. The second pictograph is the Great Horned Owl, which represents the Bohemian Grove Society, because that basically represents the American war machine. The American war machine represents one of the three sovereign nations, aka Washington, D.C., as one of the three sovereign nations that control this world. The Great Horned Owl represents Washington, or the District of Columbia. The Skull and Bones represents the Bank of England, or the square mile of London. And the Vatican is the entire green side when the bill is unfolded. And for that, I have proven beyond any doubt, is the entire green side, the entire green side. I keep saying the entire green side because it's so in your face that the Vatican controls America that you can't see the forest through the trees. The entire green side of the dollar bill is a perfect replica to scale. For those of you who understand anything about architecture, to scale of the original dimensions given by the spaghetti monster God in the book of Exodus, because none of it can be a coincidence. The entire green side of the dollar bill, honey, the door, thanks. The entire green side of the dollar bill is the Ark of the Covenant, with all of its dimensions to scale that were given in order to build the Ark of the Covenant in the book of Exodus. It's not a coincidence that that's on the dollar bill. No one ever saw it. No one ever saw the Ark of the Covenant on the dollar bill. How is that? That a carpenter, myself, from Queens, New York, how is that a carpenter from Queens, New York discovered the Ark of the Covenant on the dollar bill? Oh, it's because of my aviation background, whereas I had 4 years of technical schooling, including aircraft blueprint creation and the reading of exploded blueprints, what we call an exploding blueprint or exploded view of parts and systems. And I saw something that nobody else saw because I had a great understanding of animals. I didn't watch television. My whole life, I've never owned a television, ever, since I was 17. Once for 3 months, but I threw it off a third floor balcony. That's a story in and of itself. So I never watched television. What I would do for my entertainment was I would read the Encyclopedia Britannica and the dictionary, Webster's 20th Unabridged Dictionary. That's all I did. And if I wasn't sure about something I read about it, I would go to the dictionary or the Encyclopedia Britannica. But I never watched television. That's how I gained a lot of the knowledge. Plus, in aviation high school, they teach you aircraft architecture blueprint watching. Okay. They teach you how to see things on a three-dimensional level. The Ark of the Covenant is a three-dimensional construct on the dollar bill. It tells you the story. The dollar bill tells you the story about what's going on in the world today, what was going on in the plan. And the plan was to create a civilization of beings. Again, one of 1,000 that may have existed before the building of the Great Pyramid. Because there are structures that date back 50,000 years in, I think it's Lebanon and Iraq. There are structures that go back 50,000 plus years, 100,000 years. There are structures under the ocean that date back hundreds of thousands of years. The military knows about them, but the only one that you could ever even take a glimpse of is if you Google underwater city Cuba, C-U-B-A. There's a city just off the coast of Cuba that's under 1,700 feet of water. That's 20,000 years old. It's almost the size of the city of Miami. They won't tell you that, but that's what I have heard from underwater researchers. But there's a city that's 17 under 1,700 feet of water that's 20,000 years old, or 20,000 feet of water that's 17,000 years old. The numbers are conflicting when you do research on that topic. But if the city exists underwater, then that means the Vatican and the church is lying to you, which falls right in line with the fact that the government lies to you about everything. If the Vatican knew about the Great Pyramid being 12,000 years old, why did they lie about it? Well, because it doesn't fit into the storyline of the Bible. Now, here is where these religious fanatics, you people that are completely insane with the spaghetti monster in the sky, which doesn't exist. Higher powers and principalities do exist, but a spaghetti monster in the sky that guides you into heaven or hell or purgatory, which is even worse, okay, doesn't exist. So you can give the church all your money, all you want. It's not going to save you. If the church is told that the underwater city of Cuba exists, they say no. They lie to you. They tell you no, that it may exist, but God, quote unquote, God, their God, by the way, not my God, their God created the underwater city to tempt you into doubting the word of the Bible. And that means that if you believe the city is there, it's there. There's not a question of believing it's there or not. If you believe that it's 17 or 20,000 years old, then you go against the storyline of the Bible and you're going to hell. And that's where they got you. You're either going to heaven or hell, of which there is neither. I've been dead twice. There is no such thing as heaven or hell. There is an afterlife, but it's not heaven or hell. But these people have brainwashed you people, and all religions do the same thing. They brainwash you into believing if you're a good person or a bad person, you go into heaven and hell, which directly correlates with politicians. There is no accountability for their evil acts. Not for Hillary Clinton's evil that she did in Benghazi, not for the taking down of Saddam Hussein, who wanted to create his own monetary system. They don't think of it as good and evil because they don't think of it as consequences. There are no consequences for them in the afterlife for this as we know it. All you people that are telling you that these people are evil, well, what they have done is evil according to our standards. But in the afterlife, there is no evil and no good. There just is. Whatever is, is. Kind of like Bill Clinton. It depends on what you define the word is. It's all kabuki theater. That's my friend Scott. Kabuki theater. It's just kabuki theater. It's just to keep you people dumb enough to believe that your vote counts, although today your vote counts. Okay, this election day is a very important vote. I didn't make an assumption who was going to win. Okay, last week when a few people asked me on my live stream, I'm not actually looking at the comments. The only people's comments that matter on my Patreon accounts or people that are doing super chats so that Daisy and I can go out and have dinner. If that's not in your capacity, that's okay too. I'm just telling you that the only comments that I will address are comments from my Patreon members or people who have given us a super chat meal. Because these videos cost us money, by the way, to create. They cost us our time and our money and our energy to do this. We could be doing other things. Although right now, because of the situation with the wound on my foot, I can't do so much. These few people who want to have a question addressed, and then you're not any Patreon member, please don't donate anything to the super chat. Anybody else who wants to have a question addressed directly, then throw Daisy and I a super chat dinner for $5 or $10. Other than that, if you want to see your questions addressed, I will address the really good ones, but only a few of them. I don't care so much to do that anymore. I can lose my train of thought on the live stream. I jump around too much answering your questions. Some of them are irrelevant. Some people just want to ask 20 different questions. I don't care about what you think. This live stream is on me. I pay for the electric. I pay for the air conditioning. I pay in time to do my research. My research is valid. I'm the one who created the pictographs proving the the description of the pictographs proving that the skull and bones is on the dollar bill. Just this little portrait is not so much, this little portrait of the dollar bill, but it involves hundreds of hours to create that. And I have one that's 12 feet long that's available for a certain amount of money. I have one that's 12 feet long. Well, mine is 12 feet long and 5 feet high with 100. Well, I don't know if it's 100. It's like 70 something numbers that associate with themselves with 70 something pictographs on the dollar bill. Okay. I don't really care about the comments section anymore. You're not, unless you're contributing something that's beneficial to me, I'm not interested in what you have to say. So digressing back to the church and heaven and hell, if you don't if you don't follow the rule of law in the church, you're going to hell. That's how they control you. Now, is it a good control? Probably. Because without the worrisome knowledge that you may go to heaven or hell, you'll probably do things that normal people, civilized people wouldn't do. And that's where society is going. They're destroying religion to break down society, just like they destroyed the American dream by destroying the family structure. They made it so difficult for a man, a blue collar man, to go to work and have one job and support his family. That's no longer possible. I mean, it's possible to a small degree, but the system is now crumbling under the plan that they have had before they built the Great Pyramid. Create a huge civilization of slave workers, have these slave workers supply us with real foods, foods that are derivatives of real foods without chemicals, by the way, but we get foods with chemicals in them now. Their supply of food is pure. Even the politicians eat a supply of food that has no chemicals. There are farms and places that grow food specifically for the elite worldwide. They don't eat what we eat, and the people that control this world probably eat something else altogether. But if they do eat, they don't eat anything with the poisons that are being processed in our chemical factories and placed into food. The beings that created this world and civilization as we know it created the machinery to do the mining and excavation. Although this was all done thousands of times before our civilization and or the building of the Great Pyramid. This is no happenstance society that just appeared from nothingness, from amoeba. We are a species of evolved beings to a certain degree by genetic engineering and genetic encoding and genetic manipulation. It's always been like this. They destroyed the last civilization. When the civilization becomes too knowledgeable, they just destroy it. If people actually knew how controlled the world is by just a small segment of people, and we're not talking about Israel, and we're not talking about China, and we're not talking about the politicians in America. If these beings look like people, they're not people in reality, or not people as we would understand them to be. They're beings that are many times more evolved than we are. The only way that the most complex pictograph in all of the world could exist, aka the $1 bill, is if we had supercomputers that we still don't have in today's world that can create these pictographs when you fold the bill a certain way and then associate them with the words in the Bible. That's just not possible. The original title of my book was not Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio. It was The Almost Incomprehensible Plan, because originally, and this is where people think I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. Okay. I might say crazy stuff, and I might have crazy political viewpoints, and I may do crazy political satire, but I'm not crazy. There is just no way that any human being or a million human beings put together for 10 years could create the pictographs on the dollar bill and then associate them with the words in the Bible. It's just not possible. They could create a pictograph when you fold the dollar bill, like I showed you, of the Skull and Bones Society and the Great Horned Owl representing the Bohemian Grove Society. They could do that. That's just two simple pictographs with wings over what are known as the God Pod and the evil seed of death. But they can't create all the other pictographs to fall in line when you fold it certain ways. It tells a story, and the story is the Great Pyramid is the beginning of society. Whether the church deems it 4,000 years old or whether it's 12,000 years old in reality, which it is, that's the beginning of the story. The central portion of the story is the word one. People ask me if the word one means the one world government, and I'm telling you, no, it does not. Is there representations of the Illuminati and the one world government on the dollar bill? There is. Are there pictographs that point to the Illuminati and the one world government and Masons? Yes, there is. But the word one on the back of the Bible represents exactly what it states. In God we trust one. One God. However, it's not your God, and it's not my God, and it's not even the God that you read about in the Bible. It's a completely different entity, God. Maybe that's the secret, that the great secret that Masons seek out, and they devote their whole lives to building and building and building upon their levels of stupidity, in my opinion, up to the point where the great secret is resolved and revealed to the Masons. Okay, the great secret. Maybe the great secret is that there is no God of the Bible or of the Judaic philosophy, or of the Hindu philosophy or of the Muslim philosophy. Maybe the God, the word one, in God we trust one, is a completely different God altogether. And you would be surprised if you read my book. I prove this to be so. It's the God of the one God philosophy, but it's not God. It never was meant to be God as in Jesus, although it's representative of Jesus. Okay, there are many facets inside what is the mercy seat. The mercy seat is where the chinka of God, the energy, the chi of God is represented as God. Can it be represented as Jesus in there? Yes, it can be. But Jesus never said he was God. He said he was the Son of God. Anybody who has reached illumination or enlightenment knows that there's a God, there's a higher principality that governs this universe. But it's not God. It's just God. That's what it is. It's something that can't be described in words. Anybody who reaches a higher level of consciousness can understand what it is for a few moments, a few days, a few weeks, or a few months. And they'll never think of God as God again, because God as God doesn't exist as God, or the God that we understand God to be. Now, you can take that to mean whatever you want, but the pictographs that represent Jesus and the one God, that represents the God in the Bible, which is why I say no human being or no entity or no million human beings could have done this, is because in the Bible there are phrases and word phrases. And in order to move up to the higher echelons of these Illuminati or the Masons or political aspirations and whatever other secret societies exist that with in all aspects of the world itself, you have to know where these pictographs are on the Bible according to the word phrases in the, excuse me, you have to know the word phrases in the Bible and what pictographs they associate with the pictographs on the dollar bill. And then you have to know, if someone says, where is this? Show me the pictograph of the 4 and 20 elders on the dollar bill, worshiping God both day and night, facing God and worshiping God. It's on the dollar bill. It's there. And then show me them. And somebody that knows where they are, okay, well, then he has been taught how to see the 4 and 20 elders. Because there's 6 different ways from Sunday to see them, but there's only one way to prove it, and that's to use geometry in conjunction with the 4 and 20 elders. See, just to see the 4 and 20 elders on the dollar bill is not enough. You have to be able to prove they exist and why. And in order to do so, you have to use geometry. It's in my book. It's laid out for you in the book. How to prove it with geometry that there are 4 and 20 elders on the dollar bill. The truth. So not only would you have to know, so somebody could say, I could tell my cousin Stephen, here are the 4 and 20 elders. And he would say, that's nonsense. But I don't tell him how to prove it using geometry. And then, so he has a secret. He knows 4 and 20 elders are on the dollar bill, and he knows they exist because I told him. But I never told him how to prove that they exist, which I did in my book, Angels on the Ark. So you can pass these secrets from one person to another, but when you're asked for proof, how can you prove they're there? Then you have to add the simple step of using geometry or lines and central focus points to prove it. Just like there are hundreds of other pictographs on the dollar bill that you use geometry to prove where they are in relationship to the words in the Bible. So the fact of the matter is that the Bible and the dollar bill were created by these entities for the period of history where computers were no longer going to be a viable option. And for the period of history that's known as the New Age, or the beginning of life after Jesus, the church. It's all part of a bigger plan, and you can't see it unless you know about it. And people are too lazy to read my book, even though I challenge you to prove me wrong, and I will wager you $10,000 that you can't do so. It's still not worth it for you, because reading is too complicated or complex for your dumbed down minds, which now have permeated almost the entire existence of the globe. The chemicals that they're putting in your foods and waters and spraying in the sky is reducing your ability to focus. It's reducing your cognitive ability to comprehend complex thoughts. It's reducing your ability to read. Compound that with these new phones where everything is text messages. It's reducing your ability to communicate in sentences. Do you know that I just spoke for however many minutes? I'm not sure how many minutes, almost an hour, and I never looked at a note. I never looked at a comment that I made prior to the video. Do you know that if Mr. Obama tried to speak for 5 minutes without a teleprompter on any subject, you would see the ignorance of that man is so big, his inability to form sentences and his cognitive reasoning is basically close to zero. You would see one of the dumbest politicians that has ever lived in the history of this world. You would see a man who can't form 15 or 20 word sentences and put 3 or 4 of them together to form a thought process. You would see a man who can't pronunciate words. You would see a man, if he tried to write it, can't do simple syntax, sentence syntax. He can't do anything that has to do with reading, that anything that has to do other than reading a teleprompter, he is not capable of. The man might have an IQ of 60. He has been off teleprompter a few times and can't focus on the topic that he was discussing until the teleprompter comes back online, and is completely screwed until the teleprompter comes back online. And so in the meantime, he starts to tell jokes or laughing and his hand movements like that. The man, I would actually say, has an IQ of about 60 or 65 when it comes to reading and or forming thoughts, like what we call public speaking. The man is an idiot when it comes to public speaking. The man is incompetent when it comes to forming cognitive reasoning and projecting it in words. The man has been proven to be a liar, a fraud, and now his political base, if he was the greatest president of all time, he can't draw 500 people to a crowd. And those people are, from what I've seen on YouTube, they compensate some of these people that go to the Democratic rallies. I'm not saying Obama's rally, but some of the Democratic rallies, the people are being compensated for the amount of $15. It's in the description notes. They're given $15 to compensate them for their entire day that it takes to get up, take a shower, get dressed, get in a car, make breakfast, make lunch, go to the rally, maybe pay for parking, sit there for an hour, wait for the guy. And I call him the guy because I really don't have much respect for him at all. Wait for the guy. And then they listen to this rhetoric, same nonsense, same Democratic rhetoric over and over and over and over again. He has nothing to say, nothing of value, nothing that's going to help America move forward. He's still stuck on the past. He's upset with Mr. Trump for destroying his legacy. And well, Trump should. Obama, in my eyes, never did anything for America. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, just like he's entitled to his opinion. But if you ever heard his opinion come out of his mouth without a teleprompter, he didn't ever gotten elected. He was selected, not elected. And that's what runs our society. And you people have been dumbed down through education, through fluoride in the water, through chemicals in the sky, through other chemicals they put in your food, and God knows what. They even sprayed lithium, and 2 weeks ago, okay, about 6 years ago, under Obama's regime, they sprayed lithium mixed in with the chemtrails. Now, I think lithium has something to do with mental depression or suppressing violent thoughts. Pretty sure that's what it has to do. Okay, so they sprayed it over the skies of one state in America. I don't remember the state. And they did an experiment. Like the Tuscany experiment, where they experimented giving Africans and blacks syphilis. I don't remember the name of that experiment, but the government doesn't care about you. They never did it, and they never will. So they sprayed lithium over the skies. And 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if it's the same lithium experiment, they did this several times over several months. But how do you know that they only did it several times? What, do you really know what's in the lines in the sky? Do you know what's in there? We know that there's aluminum, strontium, and barium in there, but there could be trace elements, 1 part per billion in the chemicals, and that falls into the waterway and streams and into the ground. And some of these chemicals are soluble, and some of them are not. Some of them break down. Some of them take longer to break down. But let's just say, for argument's sake, I'm telling you the truth, they sprayed lithium, and they admitted that they did that. It's not something I made up. May have been pulled from the internet, scrubbed, just like Fukushima, the earthquake, quote unquote earthquake, which was nothing more than a nuclear detonation off the coast of Fukushima, just like that's all been scrubbed too. Except for Jim Stone. Jim Stone. Jim Stone. Jim Stone. He's the only one person in the world that knows that what I just told you is true. And he has a website devoted to Fukushima. I did not get my information from Jim Stone. I didn't hear about Jim Stone's website till about 3 years ago. Okay. I knew there was a detonation because of the epicenter off the coast of Fukushima was 6 miles offshore. It gets complicated unless you understand geographical structure. But the epicenter of a really big earthquake could be 15 or 20 miles down into the crust. The epicenter of Fukushima was several thousand feet only. That's not possible. It wasn't a shifting of the tectonic plates. It was just an explosion. A nuclear detonation created the tsunami that wiped out Fukushima. Go look at any other so-called 9.0 earthquake. It coincided with a tremor, a 6.0 tremor, but it was a planned detonation. How it got there, who put it there, theories are endless. Jim Stone has a really good understanding of why and how it could have been put there, and even who. But I can't get involved with that conversation here. I'm just bringing up Jim Stone to let you know how the government lied to you about where the tsunami came. If you notice, the tsunami was only a wave. The building shook, but it was about 6 miles off the coast of Japan. Had there been a real 9.1 or 9.0 earthquake off the coast of Japan and only 6 miles away, most of the buildings would have collapsed. That did not happen in Fukushima. What did happen is a large wave. The government knows this. Obama knew it. The people on the USS Ronald Reagan knew it, who are now dying from nuclear radiation poisoning, and the government knows this. I think there were 17 I don't want to say the number. There were several hundred people on the deck of the USS Ronald Reagan that was subjected to radiation fallout on purpose to see what the results of the radiation would be so that they could do a study. Just like where I started this with lithium being dropped onto the population, 2 weeks ago, a study came out saying that lithium added to the water reduced suicide. Well, isn't that a wonderful thing? It reduced the violent tendencies to kill yourself. But what other things did it reduce? It reduced you as a human being in whole or partial, what you are as a human being with emotions. People don't commit suicide when they're happy. Like, like, but why would you commit suicide if you were a happy person? What creates unhappiness? Well, the bad economy, the fact that you and your wife have to go to work now. How many people commit? And I don't understand suicide in and of itself. I think there are many more viable options to make yourself happy again. But I can't say those on YouTube. But if I was depressed, I would figure out a way to fix that depression, or at least temporarily fix that mode of depression. Now, so digressing back and not being able to say what I really want to say, that if I said what I really wanted to say just now, I don't know, what time is it? 11:30 here? 11:30? By 1 o'clock, my channel would be gone. Okay, if that long. So I can't tell you how to cure depression. I can tell you that the people that are committing suicide are doing it for economic reasons, and maybe their economic hardships cause them to both have to go to work and put their children in daycare centers, and their children were raped or molested by pedophiles, and maybe because the government's not doing anything against pedophilia, maybe they just said, I can't take it anymore, and committed suicide. Well, I don't personally think that's a viable option. But again, a viable option I can't talk about. So if you think the government is telling you the truth about anything, then you are mistaken. You have a psychosis inside your head that won't allow you to see the truth, be it the dumbing down of the education system or the dumbing down of people using cell phones and not being able to comprehend complex thought processes. This is all part of what's going on in today's world. Now, I started talking about Donald Trump. I grew up 5 miles away from Donald Trump. I know that the owner of the lumber yard that I worked with, Mike Garofano, lived in the same community as Donald Trump. Okay, very, very high-end community. But I didn't grow up with all the perks and benefits of being rich. Mike Garofano's father started the lumber yard I used to buy lumber from. Mike treated me one of the best people I ever knew in my life. Totally took me in under the wing of Mike Fazio. Is 17 years old, has no bank account, has no money, has no credit. We're going to give Mike Fazio credit on whatever he needs to buy for supplies. And he came right out and told me, Mike, I'm going to give you credit. Just try to pay it back on time, which I did, which built up my credit to where at some point I could order truckloads of material on credit. Mike Garofano was rich. Had I not paid him back, of course, it would have hurt the bottom line. But he came from the higher end of society, right where Donald Trump is. And at that time, talking about Donald Trump is 70 years old or close to 70 years old. At that time, the families the community that Donald Trump came from were working class families. They owned businesses like dress factories and lumber yards and bus routes and ice cream routes, good humor routes, softy routes, routes that sold You know, Boar's Head Frankfurters. These were the rich people of Forest Hills. They owned businesses. So Donald Trump came from a working class family, or the people in his immediate family owned businesses, small business owners. So he has a vision for America. His vision for America is to make America great again by building up businesses. Will that happen? Yes, probably. Will it stop the destruction and end of America as we know? No. Robotics and the mark of the beast and the total control of the monetary funds of the world, but more specifically America, will destroy the world as we know it. Will it continue to exist? Probably. Will they cause a cataclysmic event to wipe out most of the population? It's not a question of will. They do it every day by bombing Syrians with poison gas via the three-letter agencies, and then Trump coming in and bombing what's left of the evidence is proof enough that Donald Trump works directly for the New World Order. That's proof enough. Those two bombings that Trump caused hundreds of thousands of people to be displaced and or dead and or crippled and maimed for life is proof that Donald Trump follows the plan of the New World Order. Will his plan prolong the agony of the existence of America? Yes, it will. It will prolong it long enough for robotics and artificial intelligence technology to completely take over American factories. Okay. Now, I watched the initial phases of robotics or artificial intelligence in machine shops. My friend Andy Wascowiak owned a machine shop called A&W Metal Products. In fact, he's the person that built 90% of all the high dollar roulette wheels in the world, in Russia, in China, in Japan. Andy Wascowiak, A&W Metal Products, built those roulette wheels with machines that were not operated by hand. I built his machine shop and I expanded his machine shop, and then I built his offices in the upstairs of the machine shop where he built the roulette wheels themselves. And I watched the machinery make the pins for the roulette wheels, anywhere from a pen this big, you know, like the thickness and width of a pencil or a pen, to, you know, 3.5-inch pins, stainless steel, all non-magnetic stainless steel. And the pins were anywhere from, you know, 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch, or maybe larger. It depended on the roulette wheel and the order and what size they wanted the pins to be. And some of these roulette wheels were 12 feet in diameter. And some of them that we had to lift them up with cranes from the ceiling. Some of them would basically almost spin forever if there wasn't anything stopping the wheel from spinning by hitting the pins. That's how perfectly balanced these things were. Andy balanced these things to within a few grams on something that weighed several hundred pounds. And then he put Swiss ball bearings or roller bearings in the hubs of the wheel in the center, that if you just spun a 12-foot wheel as hard as you could, it might spin for 10 minutes. It could spin longer. It depends on how hard you spun it. But the point of this is, I watched technology go from making these pins by hand when I first built his machine shop to an automated machine that had to be printed by keyboard with the longitudinal axes of where the machines were going to go and then polish the parts. Now it's all automated. Now you could speak it you could speak commands into these programs. And everything is going to be automated like that. Now they have automated machines to sell hamburgers. Now you go to a checkout counter, which I don't suggest you use. That's all automated because that puts a person out of business. You say it's the only line that doesn't have a waiting time and you're in a hurry. Every time you use one of these automated machines, it puts a person with a real viable job possibility out of work. They're now serving hamburgers at Burger King with machines that make perfect patties, if you call that garbage patties anymore, because they're no longer flame broiled. Remember Burger King used to be flame broiled? Well, they're not flame broiled anymore. They're made on a flat cast iron skillet. Okay? Nothing is the way it seems. Nothing is the way it sounds. Nothing is the way it used to be, and nothing ever will be the way it used to be. But once robotics and artificial intelligence comes into the picture, it takes another portion of society away. It's a progressive happening. It's a slow death of America. Donald Trump is going to slow that slow death down, but he's not going to stop. He's going to give you some real hope in the form of jobs, but he's not going to stop artificial intelligence from 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 being the future. And that once artificial intelligence and robotics takes over, what is the use of people? They will figure out a way to get rid of you people. It's going to happen. It's why I moved to the Philippines, so that I could not be subjected to chemtrails that was being sprayed over my head every day in Florida, and I could go diving and or swimming or snorkeling in a warm water ocean that stays warm all year. I figured I might as well enjoy the last few years of my life, whatever that is, and I can do that by living on a white sand beach, which I now do. So if you think that things are going to get better, they're only going to get better temporarily. So getting back to Donald Trump midterm elections, the Democrats have gone completely insane. It's no longer it's no longer a grouping of words. It's a fact. It's a fact. And the Republicans are the ones who seem to be sane. But without the two of them, there would be no conflict, keeping you people too dumbed down and too busy thinking about nonsense, otherwise known as the Kabuki Theater, that Scott Del Fuego so confidently and intelligently described in our last live stream. It's a lie. It's all a game. That Donald Trump said he was going to lock Hillary Clinton up. Whoa, well, now the week before the election, the judge is allowed to say that we're going to review the case and that they found corruption in the DOJ and the FBI 1 week before the case. How convenient. God bless you, Donald Trump. How convenient. It's part of the dog and pony show. Donald Trump is a New World Order type of guy. Donald Trump told somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell the judge this is a good time to find or speak about finding corruption in Hillary's testimony about her emails. The week before the election, several weeks before the election, Donald Trump sends 15,000 troops to the border. He's insane, you say. We've gone over this. Every day, 1,000 people come into America illegally. Every day, that costs America $1 billion over their expenses for the next 20 years. Donald Trump originally said, and he's a liar for saying this, nobody is coming into this country. Nobody is entering. They're all going back. But then, honey, okay. Then he added one word to his statement. Nobody is coming into this country. They're all going back. Hear what I just said? Nobody is coming into this country. They're all going back. And then That was great. Make America great again. But he lied because he's a politician now. He's no longer a normal, God-fearing human being. Okay, and I don't think he believes in God any more than Clinton or Bush or Chuck Schumer or Al Sharpton believe in God. I don't think any of them believe in God. I don't believe in God, except my moral turpitude is different than theirs. So Donald Trump said, nobody is coming into this country. And then he added one word, illegally. And that changed the entire scenario. That means that now everybody gets a chance to be vetted. And his administration from day one until just a few weeks ago, 9 out of 10 people were interviewed, and 9 out of 10, 10 people were interviewed, and 9 out of 10 people got released into America under their own recognizance to show up for a court date on a hearing on their immigration status, and like 2% of them show up. He knows this. So now what he will do is he'll stop. Now he says he's going to vet everybody. I'm telling you right now, I'm sticking my finger in your face. He's a liar. He's not going to vet everybody. I'm telling you, he's not going to vet everybody because 90% of the criminals I know have never been arrested for anything. So how can you vet somebody from another country with no criminal record? He can just come in with no tattoos of any gang affiliation and say, no, I'm a normal guy. As a matter of fact, I am studying to be a doctor. He may very well be studying to be a doctor, but he may be the biggest drug dealer in his community. You don't understand. You can't vet somebody that doesn't have a criminal record. Anything interesting, Daisy?
Many comments.
Many comments.
Scott,
Scott, we go to Scott first. Hold on, Scott. Hopefully you're there.
in the bottom.
Okay. I'm going to just zoom through these. Samuel Smith says Trump is going to spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. I'm not sure what that's a reference to, but Samuel Smith is a member of my Patreon community, and they get priority. And I say that the border wall will cost, I don't know. I'm just saying $1 billion the first month. Now, you people, you're going to come up with statistics. It only costs so much per soldier, and they only get paid for so many days. It's all, none of that has anything to do with the real costs. The real costs are how much does it really cost? They're never going to tell you. Never going to tell you. Never going to happen. How much money does it cost to transport one of those little light duty tanks from wherever, from Georgia to wherever, to the Arizona border, wherever they build the tanks, wherever the tanks are stored, wherever? How much money does it cost? They're going to give you the cost of the tank going on the train and the tank coming off the train. Let's say the tank costs $10,000 to transport, and that's probably a real number, by the way. Probably more than that. But let's just say they say it cost it, but that's not $10,000. What about the fact that before they put the tank on the train, how many hours went into preparing the tank for the train and loading it with ammunition and water and whatever other supplies are inside the tank? And how many hours of man hours did it take to get the tank from where it was and transport it on a flatbed truck or a trailer to the train, and then take it off of there and put it on the train and then strap it down? How many, those man hours are never going to be counted in the total costs. So they don't lie to you. I'm telling you, it'll cost you $1 billion this month. Since day one, since he announced it, it's $1 billion. And I'm probably wrong. it's probably $2 or $3 billion, because you're never going to know about all the other monies that are spent. How much fuel went into the forklift to load the ammunition? How much wear and tear on the forklift, on the Hobbs meter, takes away from the value of the forklift? How much fuel went into the forklift? How many people it took to put fuel in the forklift, and then put the ammunition on the forklift, and then pick it up and then put it in the tank? And then how much fuel went into moving the tank from one place to the other to get it on the truck? And then how many men had to guide it up onto the platform on the ramp to get it? None of that is going to be included in the price. You people are just picking a number. A soldier costs X amount of dollars a day. None of that is the full logistics cost. Trump is lying to you about the costs, and the wall that he's spending that $1 billion, he couldn't get that much from Congress to build the wall. He got $1.3 billion so far, and he spent more than that on the troops that are going to be there in the first 2 months. So why didn't he just push this through? Everybody has their own idea about that. It's all kabuki theater. I love that saying, Scott. Blue Rose is a member of my Patreon community. We want to hear it. I don't even know what that's in reference to, but I told them, Blue Rose, I gave him the full view today. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Red Page High says red. Boone says hello. Hello, guys. Yep. Hold on, I can't. I can't read that comment. If I said that comment, they would shut my channel down. Thanks for the laugh. Okay, nobody that asked me a question that's not a member of my Patreon account. I'm going to review this for you. I am no longer interested in people's questions unless they have a real valid question, which comes in third on the list. Unless they throw us a super chat, lunch, or dinner for me and Daisy, second on the list. First on the list are my Patreon members, which I want nothing from. They're my Patreon members. They contribute to my Patreon account because they want to see what I have to say and for comedic value of my past videos, which are mostly from America. But I try to post 2 or 3 every week, sometimes 2 in a day, like this week. So unless you're like I said, one is my Patreon members that I don't want to do a super chat donation. The next person that counts here are super chat lunches and dinners, which I don't see any of the last 2 live streams. So I spent basically 10 hours of my life preparing and talking about things on my live streams, and nobody came up with a lousy money for a hamburger. So if you can't do that for me, I'm not going to address your questions. So we're going back to a Patreon member, Blue Rose. Another fun fact. Most of the world's currency was printed and minted right here in the U.S. Michael Fazio is right in saying that an entities are behind this. Oh, yeah. Blue Rose. Now, you got to understand, Blue Rose doesn't say this lightly. She's been following me for years. I've never changed my story. There's no way that the dollar bill was created by human beings. Doesn't matter what you think. It's not possible, and I proved it. And Blue Rose has seen me say it enough times and probably has read everything that I've written about the dollar bill, and then taking into account that Blue Rose has a certain level of intelligence, she's formed her own opinion, or he has formed their own opinion. I don't know which it is, and I don't care. But thank you for the comment, Blue Rose. Bend over. Now, bend over is bend, B-E-N-D-O-V-E over. D-O-V-E-R, bend over. The future of mankind is transhumanism, and yes, it is. The rogue state says the UN wants to replace the populations of America, Canada, Europe, Russia, Australia, Korea, and Japan. Yes, they do. And that's all being done in conjunction with the Vatican, aka the Illuminati, the Brotherhood of Masonry, and the US government. Okay, let's. Dana Jones says a red wave is coming. Something evil is certainly coming. There can be no doubt about that. And I can tell you, sounds superstitious, but it's not. I woke up this morning at 322 in the morning, which is the Skull and Bones number 322. I looked at the amount of comments I had not so long after that, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had 3,223 comments, which is 322,223. Okay. Then the next video, I said, wow, that's a coincidence. Not a coincidence. It's called a synchronistic event. Carl Jung coined the phrase, a synchronistic event. And it's not happenstance. It's not destiny. It's not fate. It's just part of the way the universe works. Whereas some people believe in God, some people believe that the universe guides you in certain ways. So after seeing 3,223 comments, and then looking at my comments and seeing 9 comments from yesterday where I should have averaged 100 a day. In fact, 2 days ago, I was supposed to have been shown 300 plus comments in one day, and I saw 9 of those comments. So Google is censoring me, which goes back to the title. They have unsubscribed 17,000 subscribers from my subscriber base. They're not showing people updates from my live streams. And then my videos only get 500 views. So you people that come on here and you're asking me questions and you want me to devote some of my time to your questions, you have to give me a hamburger. Okay? It's just that simple. I don't care. I devote my time to helping you understand reality. And I have never lied to you. If you can't throw me and Daisy a hamburger, then I'm not interested in what you have to say, unless it's a really good comment. And I'm no longer even going to mention who made the comments. That's a new rule. I just made it up now, as a matter of fact. I was only going to mention the great comments, but unless my stomach is fed for the time and money and electric and energy and the fact that I have to buy hard drives to save these videos in case something happens to my channel and for posterity. If you can't give us a hamburger, I'm not interested in what you have to say. If you can't put an intelligent comment up on the screen, I'm not interested in what you have to say. And if you're a member of my Patreon account, even the $1 members, I want nothing from you as far as super chat. Nothing. Please don't give money. Thank you. Rogue State. Now, I only mention his name because, he's got some good viewpoints, but they're not, I can't allow them to be posted into the live chat. I wish I could, but I can't. The Rogue State, don't think I'm not looking at your comments. I'm reading them all. And a lot of people agree with you, but that kind of stuff will get me a strike on my channel for having those kind of comments. But I like the way you think. Puerto Ricans will flip key battleground states, Florida and Pennsylvania, to the Democrats. What will conservatives do to fight this? And that brings me back to the numbers 322, 323, 223. That I have a bad feeling about the election. And then the first video I watched after I went to my comment section, I just flipped it on. I didn't look at what time it was, but then on the right side of the video, it shows you the time. It showed you 9/11, the number 9/11. So I have a feeling that something, this is like a premonition, and this is how the universe confirms your premonitions. I have a premonition that something very bad is happening right now, today. We may not ever know what it is. It may be some super secret deal that Trump makes with Israel or Iran or Russia or anybody else. It could be something super secret that nobody will ever know. But right now, today, because of the numbers that I see and the feeling that I had when I woke up at 322, I have a feeling something bad is occurring today. Rogue State says the Star of David is on the dollar bill, and he's right. Freemasonry is Jewish. That's correct. And yet, if you want to become a Mason, 20 years ago, they would tell you they don't accept people that are Jewish. They don't accept Jewish people into Masonry. And yet, there are the upper echelon of Masons are Jewish, a lot of them. Hello, Samuel Smith. Scott Del Fuego. Hi, Michael. Check email. Item arrived and was retrieved this afternoon. Thank you, Scott. Okay, I sent you back a voice message. I'm gonna have to actually talk to you in person. Thank you very much for the information. The insanity, the ignorance in some of these comments is astounding. I never said I believe in the God of the dollar bill. I said it exists, and it is what controls this world. If you want to believe it to be Satan or Lucifer or satanic in nature, you would be correct. I don't adhere to his policy or its policy. I told you my moral turpitude is completely different than the God of the dollar bill. The way you come up with this insane statement, glad he is awake until he gets to the no God thing and how he can believe in Satan but not God. There is no God, dude. There is a God of this world that controls this world, that created the dollar bill and the Bible. There is a higher power that goes far beyond that and exceeds that, but you can only understand what that power is by reaching a state of illumination or to become illuminated. Not the Illuminati, you mental midget. Two different things. The Illuminati and being illuminated or reaching cosmic consciousness is two different things. I'm not saying I want to reach the Illuminati. I'm telling you I have reached stages of illumination, otherwise known as Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness, God consciousness, cosmic awareness. Okay? I'm not saying I believe in the Illuminati. I'm telling you, unless you have become illuminated, you can't understand the higher principles and principalities of the universe. I can understand how you make a mistake like that, because your mental capacity to listen and focus, plus my not being a perfect public speaker, adds to the complication of understanding what I said. I don't believe in Satan and his ways. I'm telling you that the satanic nature of the universe is represented as the God, the word God on the dollar bill. From the standpoint of the satanic and or Illuminati Vatican, they control this world. It's satanic in nature. The Vatican is satanic in nature. Not all of the teachings of the Vatican are satanic in nature, but the people that control it. I'll go into it again. Since 1955, $5 billion has been given to people to shut up about pedophilia within the ranks. A few weeks ago, or a few months ago, the second in command of the Vatican has been hit with 100 charges of pedophilia. People underneath him are getting hit with pedophilia charges and cover-ups. The Vatican does nothing about this. The Vatican is satanic in nature. If you believe that pedophilia is satanic, like I do, and it's a criminal act, then you have to tell me that the Vatican is satanic in nature as well. Whether it supposedly stands for God or not, it's a facade. All religion is a facade. You get the two confused because of your small understanding of what's. Tell you what, read my book, Angels on the Ark. Maybe I should make it that nobody, not a single person do I answer except Patreon members and Super Chat members. Maybe I should make a new rule. Besides, now I'm not mentioning people's names, only their comment. Maybe I should make a new rule. Unless you've bought my book, I won't answer your comment. And if you tell me you bought my book, I'll open up my book and I'll ask you what's on page 722 in the third paragraph. And if you can't tell me, I won't answer your question. But that'll take up too much time. So I don't really care what you think. If you can't comprehend what I'm saying, well, that's a personal problem, not mine. Scott is complimenting Samuel Smith's ability to wield the wrench, and wielding the wrench Samuel Smith has done. Thank you. So I've seen two comments that I would have blocked also, Samuel. Scott is home relaxing. Lord knows. And I believe in a higher power where I can say, Lord knows, Scott Del Fuego deserves the rest that he says he believes he's going to get tonight. Unless his beeper or cell phone clicks on for another complication. Scott Del Fuego says, angels on the ark. He didn't read anything about the Philadelphia experiment and angels on the ark. I didn't put it in there, Scott. It's real, to my knowledge, but I was told by Norm Tolson, who trained me. The government had technology. Two people that I was friends with. One, Mr. Babcock, my friend Bruce Babcock's father, who I only know as Mr. Babcock. Friend of the family, genius, owned. He fixed refrigerators and air conditioners, but he also had an electronics business. Bruce Babcock later on went to be a very big into electronics. My friend that I grew up with. Bruce Babcock's father worked for the government in secret military installations. And when I was building my boat in 1973 and 74 and 75, Mr. Babcock would make it a point, not because Bruce and I were friends since kindergarten, but he'd make it a point to come over and see how the boat was doing. And if I was there, he would sit down and we'd chat. And he told me that the United States government in 1960 could transfer particles from one place to another using electronic or light waves. I don't remember what he said and how it was done, but he said they could take a small block of steel and move it to another room or another place. It was deformed upon coming back, but he said their ability to do that. And the reason that he mentioned it is because Star Trek said that they could transport people from one place to another. And he was telling me how advanced the technology was in 1960 to move solid objects. He was one person that confirmed that. Now, Norm Tolson confirmed this. And I did mention this in previous videos that are on my live, not on my live stream. During the time that they were creating, okay, Norm Tolson was the head videographer or cameraman of all the cameramen on the Manhattan Project. There were many heads of the divisions, but Norm Tolson was the person that reviewed and created the words that went along with the videotapes that they made for the generals and the president and the vice president and the joint chiefs of staff. So my friend who trained me in meditation, Norm Tolson, who I was friends with from 1973 until 1990 or so, I guess it could have been the early 90s or the late 80s, okay, that I kept in touch with him. Norm told me that when they were doing the experiments, where they stored the nuclear material in heavy water that was made out of metal canisters and or glass containment canisters inside rooms. So if there was a breach of the containment canister itself, the water would only go into a sealed, hermetically sealed room. So the canisters had the radioactive material in the heavy water that they were using to build the bombs. Then there was a door that was could have been 24 inches thick of reinforced concrete and steel, which gave it the strength, and then a lead barrier, however thick the lead barrier was, inside the wall. So it was, let's just say it was a 24-inch wall, half-inch plate steel or 3/8 plate steel on the inside and 3/8 on the outside, and then it was all corrugated steel and concrete in the middle, and then on either side or both sides there was a lead shield. Could have been an inch thick, could have been 2 inches thick. He didn't give me the specifics of the wall. He just said the wall was concrete, steel, and lead lined and 2 feet or so thick. So now you're outside the wall in case there's a breach of the contaminated material. This was the heavy duty stuff, radioactive stuff. And sometimes what would happen, and still happened as long as he knew about it, is that phasing would occur. Phasing was what they call phasing is polarization of the metal, the atoms and the molecules in the metal, and you would be able to see through the 2-foot wall and through the metal canister and through the wall on the other side, and you'd be able to see people walking around through basically 4 feet of wall and or the metal or glass containments. And it would only happen for a few split seconds, but it happened. And that was because of something that they were doing with electromagnetic waves, wavelengths. I don't know what it was. He didn't get into the specifics, but he did get into the fact that phasing occurred, the polarization of the metals. And that's where the Philadelphia experiment originated from, their experiments at Manhattan Project, because they were experimenting with thousands of different ways to handle nuclear material. So when they decided, and the way they finally ended up gathering the nuclear material was building huge magnets out of silver, which is why they took all the silver back from the American people. So because they made the magnets out of silver and copper, it was why the copper pennies were being made during the war. I mean, steel pennies were being made during the war because they used all the copper for building ships and wires and to create these super magnets to get the plutonium and to get the uranium that they needed from the radioactive products that they were working with. But there were huge amounts of electromagnetic radiation all over the whole Manhattan Project, and sometimes these things would fade. So the Philadelphia experiment was just a takeoff of what happened at Manhattan, the Manhattan Project, and then I didn't put about it in my book. I could have put it in my book. I could still be writing my book about Things I Know by Michael Fazio. I could have went into the Things I Know by Michael Fazio. It could have been a few hundred pages on just items. I understand aircraft mechanics. I'm a licensed A&P. I'm a licensed crane operator. I'm a licensed heavy equipment operator. If I put all those things down, it'd take 2 months to tell you what I could do. So I could have put in, I wanted to write a book, Things I Know by Michael Fazio, and then give you a brief description and then show you pictures of the things that I know about from the pictures I've taken, which I have about 4,000 plus pictures available for those who try to discredit what I say. I will just show them where I was and what I did. And, it's for you. Okay, I don't care what you think. So, Scott, oh, wait, honey, water? Well, I got water over here. You know what I could use? Cognac water. And what are you eating, honey, sweetheart? What are you having? Okay. Cheers. May I have some cold water, please? Okay, that's the answer. Uh-oh. Someone said my stream is killed. Oh, no, that's a different one. Yeah, the dollar keeps popping up on the screen, Samuel, because this is a Google Live Hangout. And I made it a Google Live Hangout so that if someone wanted to call in and talk to me in person, my friends, people from my Patreon account, and more specifically, Steve Ellington asked me to do a Google Hangout like that. That's why I made. That's why the dollar bill pops up on the screen. Hello, Jack Thompson. Good morning. Good evening. Samuel likes my rule about. I have several rules that I am now implementing on my live streams. I'm not going to address people's names and comments unless they're really, really, really great. Pamela Carr. Now, Pamela Carr, for instance, is an example. Pamela Carr donated to a super chat a few super chats ago, and I don't want her to do it again, but I remember her name, and she says, "Hello, Daisy May. Hey, Daisy May." So, Pamela Carr, don't think I forgot about you, and we're going to mention your name in the dinner when we go out for our super chat dinner. It's on a list. Thank you for that super chat donation. So I remember the people that have helped us, and it's not like I need the food, but if Pamela Carr enjoyed my live stream to the degree to say, Michael Fazio provides us with a certain degree of entertainment, whether it's insanity or not, he's entertaining. And I come off as semi-intelligent, too intelligent to genius, depending on your intelligence, which doesn't affect my life one way or the other. But I provide you with 1 or 2 or 3 hours of entertainment, and you people like that that guy Johnny Q. I bet you he asked me 35 questions on the last live stream. What, honey? Yeah, I know what his name was. And I remember his name, Johnny Q, the piece of garbage that he was. I told him to stop answering questions or send us, a super chat hamburger or something like that. And the piece of garbage kept asking questions. So he can't see the value of my time. So if my time has no value to me, he is the one that made me come up with the new rules that Samuel was talking about. If I don't like you, I don't address you at all. If you ask too many questions and never give anything back in return, no longer are you a viable option. If you speak an intelligent question that's really, really great and has an important significance to it, I'll mention your name in the comment. Or if it's just a decent comment, I'll read the comment. But I am providing you with 2 or 3 hours of entertainment, whereas if I didn't do it, and you're here watching me, and many people watch my entire live stream, if you're here watching me, I just saved you 12 bucks for the cost of a movie. And if you didn't want to go to the movie alone and you're sitting there watching it with your wife, I just saved you $24. And if the movie theater was 5 miles away from your house, I just saved you $1 for every mile you drive on your car, because that's what it costs for wear and tear, deflated value of the car, and or parking. So I just saved you $10 for wear and tear on your car if the movie theater is only 5 miles from your house. And I just saved you $24 in movie tickets and popcorn and other stuff. I just saved you $35 for my entertainment only. Now, if you don't like my entertainment, then why are you even here? Go someplace else. I don't care what you like. I never cared what you like, and that's why I speak my mind of a political nature and comedic nature with Mr. Obama. Okay, although I wouldn't quantify it as totally comedic, but that's how I have to represent it on my channel. So if you don't like what I do, then don't come here. If you want to ask me questions, the new rule is, because of that guy Johnny Q, the piece of garbage that he is, 35 comments that I had to look at and read and blah blah blah, and then he goes, "Oh, it's all about money." No, it's not all about money, but it's my time I give you. If you don't think my time is worth anything, then go away. What are you here for? There's another channel that's got your name on it that some butt wipe is waiting for you to come to the channel to ask him some stupid question so his life can somehow become relevant on YouTube. They're waiting for you right now. Go away. I feel much better now. Pamela Kerr. Hello, Pamela. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I have my reasons, and in regards to what I put in the book, it could have went on forever. I only did a very small portion of the Bible showing you the pictographs. It took 2 years to do the research to do Genesis, the book of Genesis, what's written in my book about the book of Genesis, and find the pictographs on the dollar bill. It took 2 years just to do that research. It took another 2 or 3 years to do the pictographs on the dollar bill that represent the book of Revelation. But in every book of the Bible, there are pictographs that associate itself with the book, with the words in the Bible and the dollar bill. For instance, there's a phrase in the Bible about wheat and chaff and the value on a scale. Well, that's on the dollar bill, by the way. That's one topic I covered in the book. It's on the dollar bill. The wheat, the chaff, and the scale that's spoken about in the Bible is on the dollar bill. But it's not provable unless you show all the pictographs around it that associate with the other words about the wheat and separating the wheat from the chaff. and the oil of the seeds. Okay, this is it's the most complex pictograph in all of history. But I could have gone on forever. I could still be writing. And you know what? Here's what the reason, Scott, I did what I did. Okay, I figured that would be part one, and that the people that control this world would say this guy's a genius. Let's give him an entire movie studio and let him have free reign to make this a movie and add to what's in the book. But instead, what I was exposing as the Illuminati and the criminals in the Vatican and the Illuminati Vatican and the corruption in politics, instead, what I ended up doing was proving how corrupt the Vatican is and in control of American and the government of America and the the Bank of England or the Square Mile of London. Okay, I proved that, and that I thought that they were gonna say, hey, what a great guy this is. He's proven how corrupt the world is. No, what they did was say, oh, geez, this guy's telling the truth. We got to suppress his view counts, his videos, and his statements. Still allowing me to do it because now they think that I am projected in the form of a clown, and they don't, or a tinfoil hat, because I had a couple of videos with tinfoil hats on. Okay, I don't care what they think. I don't care what you think. Not Scott per se. I do care what Scott thinks, but I don't care what you people think. The only way I'm going to care about what you think is you become a member of my Patreon account, and you for that you get several. Now it's over 400 videos of comedy that can't be on YouTube anymore. I provide you with hundreds of hours of comedic videos of all natures, all types, all subject matter on my Patreon account. You can't see that stuff in the movies. You'd have to go back and look at an Andrew Dice Clay movie to even come close to some of the stuff I talk about in my videos. And you feel there's no value to that, so I feel it's not worth my time to entertain your comments. Fair enough. Entanglement theory, or spooky action at a distance, is accepted science. Scott Del Fuego says the entanglement theory, or spooky action at a distance, is accepted science. Comma. I'd love to know what can be done and what is behind the gates at Area 51. That I unfortunately have no factual knowledge of. Now, I worked doing ground wires for the Air Force at the Homestead Air Force Base, and also at the Air Force Base just outside of Key West. And I brought my machine there, and I actually worked digging. We only put the ground wire in. But the people that did the ground, I dug the trenches and filled up the trenches. The people that did the ground wires worked for an outside agency from the Air Force. They weren't military personnel. We were all subcontractors for the government. But they worked on the government secret projects, putting the ground wires in at the towers. And they also connected the ground wires into the rooms where the computers that run the radar towers are in. And I had the opportunity to go into those rooms where it's just rows you see in the science fiction movies. I'm going someplace with this as to what I learned about Area 51. You see in the science fiction movies, there's just rows and rows of heavy duty industrial shelving with billions and billions and billions and billions and billions, looks like billions and billions and billions of wires that just are plugged into this and plugged into that. And there's thousands and thousands of miles of wire hung from the ceiling and hung from special hooks at the top of the 6-foot frames or 8-foot frames where the where the electronics themselves go. Now, do I have a video of that? No. Can I show it? No, because it doesn't exist. But I have videos of that. I mean, what it would look like. You know, I took them off the movie screen. Now, do I have videos of me on those jobs? Yes, I did. I did take video of me on those jobs, walking up the staircases and then inside the radar towers themselves. Yes, I do have video of that. Were you allowed to take video of that? It was kind of like I took the video and no one said anything because they liked me. Okay. But were you supposed to? No, I don't think you were. But I did it anyway. Okay. So can I show you those videos? No, I can't show them to you. I could just tell you that I have them. But the guys that work with me doing the wiring itself, that we used to do the way it works is you drop a copper wire in the ground, and and then you have grounding rods every so often that are pounded into the ground, and you do a CAD weld. It's cadmium welding. It's kind of like the charges that they stuck in the World Trade Center to melt the beams. It's a really high intensity combination of chemicals, and it it just welds any two objects that are made out of metal together. I mean, copper or steel, or galvanized fencing. You didn't even have to grind the galvanizing off the galvanized fencing. Put the you just put the wire against the galvanized fencing and you covered it, and then you dumped the powder. It came in a tube about that big. The ones we used, it came in a tube about 1 inch in diameter and about 2 inches high, and you dump it into like a mold that goes around everything, and you dump it into the mold, and that product becomes a piece of bronze when the stuff burns off of it, and then it melds the copper cable through the galvanizing of the fence to the metal, and that's the ground, and that's how that works. So those guys did that all over the United States, and they may have did it other places, but we talked about Area 51. I tried to get into that crew. All I would have had to do was go into school, climbing school, for about, I think it's like a 6-week school, climbing school, because not me, but they hung. Also, they did some other wiring and maintenance on the towers. That their company did that. So some of the guys were only for the ground wiring. They all could do all the jobs, and some guys were designated up into the towers to do wiring throughout the structure, like whatever needed to be done. And so you have to go to a climbing school so that you learn how to safety harness one hook and then remove the other one and then move over, and you have to learn how to work because you were working 100 feet off the ground. So I would have had to go to climbing school, and then I would have had to go to school, and I think it was Indiana. I'm not real sure. I don't remember. It was from the Midwest. And then I would have gone to the climbing school was there. Then I would have gone to the ground wiring school. Would have took about 3 months, I think, altogether. But the salary would have been good, but I would have had to leave my house and go wherever they said. It wasn't like Key West was the only job, but I would have done it. And I had the money in the bank to pay my mortgage for a year, and I had a rental going downstairs in the house. I would have done that job had they told me I could become one of the people that work in Area 51, because a lot of these guys did work in Area 51. But they said in order to do that, it was pretty much virtually impossible to get on the Area 51 crew, and everybody wanted to be there. And then I spoke with them about Area 51. Not one person ever told me any piece of information that was of any use. Nobody would ever talk about Area 51. Nobody. Nobody would even tell you some insignificant thing. All they would tell you is that when you go to Las Vegas, and then there's an airport there, and that they put you in an airplane with no windows, and they fly you. You undress, and cell phones in the early 2000s were basically, form of communication, but all electronics and cameras and everything were taken off your person, and then you were placed on the Air Force Base, and food and provisions were given to you while you were doing a job, and you could go on weekend furloughs and come back, but they told me it was almost impossible. But what I know about Area 51 is not much. So, not like I haven't discussed it with people, but I discussed it with people that were there, and I even discussed it with people that were drunk in bars at night and high on marijuana. Some of these guys smoked dope, and nobody ever gave me even one insignificant fact about Area 51. So when they say they can't keep Area 51 a secret, they were keeping Area 51 a secret from guys that I would go out to at night, and I would watch them get enamored where they couldn't even walk. They wouldn't give you a piece of information about Area 51. Scott, thank you, Scott. Scott says, I'm reading the compliments to me from Scott, because Scott and I know each other. Now, I can tell you that Scott's position in life is somebody that could make an evaluation like this. Scott says, Michael may not be polished or phony, but if you don't see the genius, hyphen, I mean very, comma, very high, hyphen, level IQ, you yourself are not very perceptive. This man is epic level smart. Thank you, Scott. Now, he's not doing this, but believe me, nobody, many people feel the same way. They look at me when I tell them what I can do, and they go, how could you do all that stuff? They think I'm making up stories, that I own a barge company, I own a crane company, I own an excavation company, I have a general contractor company, I build kitchen cabinets, I install bathroom tiles, plumbing, electric, aircraft electric, built some of the first 6 ships. I worked on the first 6 ships at the A-10A, installing the bathtub and the fuel tanks and the empennage, and I even was there for the installation of the first Gatling gun. How could you do all of this? Well, I didn't devote my life to sitting in bars and watching television. It's just that simple. Plus, I think that knowledge is power, and the more smarter that you are, or the more intelligent you are, more smarter. That's a good English. The more intelligent that you are, the more of an ability you have to adapt to the life around you, whatever it is. And it may not be pleasant, but it may be pleasant. It may put you in a better place in life. The fact that I get along so well with the people here in the Philippines has nothing to do with me being able to speak their language. I understand their culture. Do I agree with their culture? Probably not. I agree that they should take some advice from me, but I stopped giving advice because they don't listen. Okay, so does it make it right? No. I think the people of the Philippines could be much better off using a skill saw instead of a hand saw, but that's the way they do it. So my intelligence says that's the way they do it. I don't walk up to a job site and say you should use a skill saw. Okay, but if I wasn't in sync with what's going on, other people come here and tell them you have to use a skill saw. Well, they're not going to use a skill saw. I gave that up. A few conversations with long-term people in the Philippines that told me, Mike, they're never going to change the way they do things. They're not going to listen to you, and they're not going to use a skill saw. And the man who told me this would bring a compound miter to the job and tell the men to use the compound miter. And it had a good blade, and it sat on top of the concrete floor, because they don't work from benches here in the Philippines. They work on the floor, and it sat on the floor. And what they would use the miter for was to hold a piece of wood up on the bench of the miter and then they would strike a line with a pencil or a nail on a piece of wood and then cut it on the angle that they wanted. Now, if they wanted a 45-degree piece of 2x4 and the power miter was where the wood was, they would put the power miter up in the air, or in this case, past, if it was a compound miter, so it went past the back of the miter itself. A regular miter would be chop saw down, but this was a compound miter, so they'd push the blade past the backstop, and they'd use the power compound miter for a stand to put their piece of wood on if it was near the wood. If it wasn't near the wood, then they'd put it on top of a Coke bottle or a brick or a block. But I could sit here and argue with the people in the Philippines that it's easier to use the compound miter, and it is, but that would be stupid. So intelligence is just I couldn't even work with somebody that would not listen to me, but they didn't work for me. When they did work for me and did something for me and I told them not to do it, I'd say, okay, look, okay, how much do I owe you? Just the same as in America, when they didn't listen to what I told them to do, how much do I owe you? Okay, you can finish today, or maybe you want to go home now. You can go home now, but you got to do it my way or go home now. They go home. They won't listen. So if I was stupid, I'd argue with them. But anyway, I have a vast and varied amount of knowledge to do different things in life. Now, one day I'm going to do a live stream on just YouTube bloggers and the intellectual levels of the different bloggers and some of the nonsense they spew out. I'm not talking about my Obama comedy, because I get comments, oh, you must be gay to have the DOD and put it up to Mr. Obama. Dude, nobody ever said that to my face, and nobody ever will. Nobody that knows me ever thought that. Nobody that I grew up with ever thought it. Okay, only you clowns on YouTube, you spineless little cretins that can say this stuff in the comment section, and I leave it there because it really has no importance to me. I don't care what you think. Okay, but I am going to do a live stream on the intelligence level of the Philippine bloggers. I may not mention their name, and I do have some prime time names created for the different bloggers so that I don't directly insult them, but I am going to directly insult them if they could figure out who they are. But because of YouTube's new policies on hate speech, I can't do what I want to do. So I figured out a way to abuse people by using fake names, and that's going to happen. Wait for it. Thank you, Scott. Samuel's working here with this Shelley. Thank you, Samuel. The live stream stopped, but Scott rebooted his computer. I had to reboot my computer and this morning. Let me tell you what Google in the title of this video. Let me tell you what Google has done. First of all, I have 20,000 subscribers. I have 17,500 legit subscribers on YouTube. None of them, except like 25, 30, 100 maybe, are getting my updates, because my views went from several thousand views for each video in 2 weeks down to about 300 views for each video in 2 weeks. And then it drops down to 0. No one ever sees the video again. I don't get any more viral videos at all. Never have. Although I have videos with 500,000 views. And I even have other channels with different videos with 500,000 or more views. I think one of them has 700,000-800,000 views. 33 Masonic symbols on the $1 bill. On my channel has 15,000 views, and on the other channel has 800,000 views. Why? Because I don't have my name associated with the other channel. My channel, it's on my home page, but I don't. My name, Michael Fazio, isn't associated with the channel. So Google is now not sending out updates to my 17,000 subscribers. I have the lowest subscription views of any YouTuber on YouTube. I don't care who anybody else is. I don't. Any other YouTube with 17,000 subscribers that posts a video is guaranteed to get 1,000 to 1,500 views in 2 days, whatever the video is, because that's their genre. Okay, that's their genre. Whatever it is, could be games. 17,000 subscribers, you're going to get 1,000 to 1,500 views in 2 or 3 days. It could be politics. 17,000 subscribers, you're going to get 1,000, 1,500, 3,000 views in a few days. 17,000 subscribers on a channel that basically you interview ladyboys and gays and you talk about nonsense, you're going to get 5,000 or 6,000 views in a few days. Why? Because Google is pushing the gay agenda and the ladyboy agenda and the bisexual agenda. So if you have a channel that represents those things and you can put those tags in the description box, you're going to get a great amount of views. But me, who does Obama comedy, and I'm basically against the Democrats wholeheartedly, I'm against the Republicans wholeheartedly, and to some degree, I'm against the Donald Trump wholeheartedly. But you only have one choice in this election, and that's to vote red. Okay, there's only one choice in this election. Red, right across the board. Whether they're right or wrong or indifferent, it's the only way America's going to survive the next 10 years. If you vote Democratic now, and they take Donald Trump's ability away to do what little he is doing for the country, then America has, and if they can get him out, if they can, by whatever means necessary, is they don't care how they get him out. Okay, by whatever means necessary, false accusations, some kind of corruption in his taxes, a coup, a political coup. They don't care how they get him out. They don't care if he dies of a heart attack. If that happens and they get their Democrat to run in the next election, the people, some piece of human fecal tissue, otherwise known as a politician, similar in nature to Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, and Al Sharpton, and Dick Durbin, and let's see who else. The guy who was the Republican, the House in charge of the Republican. I forget his name. He grew a beard to show his alliance to the Islamic State, like Alex Jones did, by the way. Alex Jones, Paul Joseph Watson, and David Knight, they all grew beards. Why did they do that? It's not a Masonic thing. It's not an Israel thing. Well, it is Israel. Well, you know what? I could be wrong. Maybe they did it to show their alliance to Israel. Either way, all three of them grew a beard. Oh, and the other guy, Darrell something. I forget his name. Those three guys. David Knight had a beard when he started with Alex Jones, but they all grew a beard for some reason. It's to show alliance to a company, an organization, or a country. See, you just don't understand. You don't see the bigger picture here. It's all happening right in front of your face. Why did Alex Jones, who's not an ugly man, a little overweight like myself, but not an ugly man by any means. He's bald. He's got a lot of fake hair up on his head, but he's not an ugly man. What did he grow a beard for? Usually, a person that grows a beard is hiding something or trying to represent a certain philosophy to look more intelligent. Well, Paul Joseph Watson doesn't need a beard. He's really intelligent. Alex Jones is highly intelligent, doesn't need a beard. And the other guy, Darrell, whatever his name is, I keep thinking Darrell Strawberry, but it's not him. The other guy that is the host of InfoWars now, they all grew a beard within a few months of each other. It's an alliance to some other entity or political philosophy or organization or country. Okay, it's a hoax. They're sticking it right in your face. Growing a beard, all three of them. What? Because they're friends? What is this, the beard club? Don't you see? Don't you see what they're doing? It's right in your face. If they're beautiful beards, They probably get trimmed every day. But it's a beard is a dirty, stinking, filthy thing stuck on the skin of your face. I had one. That's where the terminology Rabbi Jew Barker came from, and the beard of wisdom. Google the beard of wisdom, and you'll see a dirty, stinking, filthy beard that I hate. I hated it from day one. And the reason I grew my beard is because I said I am not shaving this beard off until I moved to the Philippines. And every day it grew, I hated the beard more and more because it gets sawdust stuck in your face. You can no longer wear a mask to go scuba diving. You had to wear goggles instead of a full face mask because the beard interfered, the mustache interfered with water coming in. Okay, it's a dirty, stinking, filthy thing to stick a beard on your face. Okay, so why people do things and they do it right in front of your face? Why Alex Jones did it? He'll never admit to why he did it, but he did it to affiliate himself with a party of whoever. Could be Arabic, could be the Sunni Muslims, it could be the Jewish factor that controls Alex Jones, could be any one of those entities. I don't know what goes on inside Alex Jones's head. I have no idea. It would be interesting to know what goes on inside his head, but I don't know. Okay, we're going to talk about voting machines in a minute, how we got down to the end. Pamela Carr says, I'm moving away from those comments, but Pamela, I'm pretty close. Pamela Carr says, yes, your channel is always entertaining and very informative. Thank you, Pamela. Okay, so I'm back to where I was. That was the next comment. Samuel is using that wrench, wielding the power of the wrench. Bye-bye, Shelley. Okay, tomorrow is election day for me in Manhattan. I'm a Democrat, and I'm going to vote red straight down the line. Now, Oravan, he's been leaving comments, or she has been leaving comments on my channel for about 3 months. I have the ability, as does anybody else with a channel, with a monetized channel, to see the comments and then Google the person's name or search the person's name in the comments. Now they're relatively new to my channel, or under this name they are new, and it only left one really nasty comment. But other than that, he likes my videos, or she likes my videos. So now they made a statement which is probably going to happen in a lot of places. He said the comment, Oravan, says tomorrow is election day for me in Manhattan. I'm a Democrat and I'm voting red straight down the line. Well, Oravan, I'm from Manhattan. I'm from the 5 boroughs. I lived in Manhattan. I remember you could go to sleep in Central Park. I remember sleeping in Central Park all night, just getting drunk out of our faces and just laying down on the bench and falling asleep on a park bench in Central Park when we were like 16 years old, maybe. I'm thinking we were still in high school. It was the summer, and we would get freaking hammered. And you could drink in Central Park at the time and other things and just fall asleep. The Great Pond in Central Park. My friend Carl, I wonder if he's listening to this. My friend Carl, he didn't quite get away with this, but somehow everybody's drinking got spiked with a tab of LSD 25. We were about 14 or 15 years old. Not everybody's, but most everybody's food or that we were eating or drink got spiked. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. So it was winter time, and the Great Pond in Central Park was frozen. Okay, so we're running across the ice, and we were playing what we call berg. We were berging, Bergern, berging, iceberging, where you break some of the ice was like 6, 8 inches thick, 10 inches thick in some places near the shore. You break it apart, you run across the pieces, and you fall in. I mean, there's no doubt that you're going to fall in. You fall through, you could die too. I mean, when I think about it, all the berging I did on the canals and ponds and where I did them, it's amazed that I'm not dead from drowning. But anyway, Carl Vella, how you doing, Carl? He goes under the name of a different name on my channel. I forgot what it was. His son watches me. Carl goes to the Philippines. I'm surprised he hasn't shown up at my back door one day. But anyway, you're welcome to do so, Carl, if you see this video. Anyway, Carl was under the influence of some LSD 25, and we're running across the icebergs. This was not the night that we slept there. This was a different trip altogether, so to speak, you know. And so he falls in, and he's just about frozen solid. And the police came because it took a while to get him out. And now he's frozen solid. So the police stick him in the car on the service road around the pond, and they're interviewing us as to what's wrong with him. And nobody told the police that he was tripping, but they knew we were drinking and smoking pot and stuff like that, and they didn't really care about that. And so they really wanted, because he was incoherent, was they wanted his address, and I happened to live just a short distance from where he lived, and I knew his address. So I was giving the police his address, and I was all monkeyed up, by the way. We were all monkeyed up. We were partying. We were doing some serious stuff. And Paul, he gets out of the back seat of the police car and jumps into the front seat and takes off. he didn't go very far, and they stopped him. And he said that he did it because he couldn't tell the police where he lived, but he knew where he lived. Some bullshit story like that. Anyway, yeah. Okay, that's I don't know how we got oh yeah, so Oregon comes from Manhattan, and Manhattan has changed. You could fall asleep on any bench in any park in Manhattan in the 1970s. I mean, I could go to the Bronx and sleep up. There was a guy named Philawega or some shit, Edward Philawega. Cool dude, but he lived in the Bronx in his tenements, and we used to go up on the roof and hang out and drink and smoke pot and stuff like that in high school. And we would fall asleep on the roof, but people would be partying all night. No one robbed us or killed us or took our wallets. Can't do that now. It's changed. So he's voting all red. Thank you for sharing that information with us. I mean, and everybody should, because the decline of America is going to happen so fast if the Democrats get into office. So I'm saying vote red. And there are some people that say vote blue. Samuel Smith is going to vote red, white, and blue. Scott Del Fuego. Scott's buying a 10-inch compound miter. Is going to pick up a rigid 10-inch slider. Okay, Scott, here's the problem with the 10-inch miter. Okay. Well, 10 inches. It would only give you a maximum. I'm not sure. The motors are smaller, but if you now I'm pretty sure you're not cutting 3-inch lumber. But if you are, that's a little bit light duty to cut through 3x10s. If you're not, and you have a good blade, you can cut through 2x8s. No problem with that. Just go slow and be careful. Some people use the miter. They push the miter past the backstop and pull it backwards towards you, the blade. Don't do that, okay? I don't know what your expertise in carpentry is. Just don't do it, okay? You can do it, and a lot of people do it. If you do it, take a shooting stance, kibigash, kibidash, where you're balanced, steady, and you have a good shooting stance, like 1 foot behind the other, and keep your arm not exactly straight out stiff, but very rigid stiff, and bring that miter back slowly using your body. And the problem with pushing the miter, now what you get from pushing the miter forward a little bit, I mean, going past the backstop and pulling the cut backwards, you get a smoother cut. No doubt about that. You also, on the top of the board, doesn't splinter because the blade is coming down on the top of the board, so it doesn't splinter. So you get a smoother and cleaner cut on the lumber. But if you hit a pin knot and your arm is slack, that miter is going to want to jump over that whole entire piece of wood in like a tenth or a thousandth of a second, and it's going to come back and hit you, or try to hit you. It could come back and run across your hand if your hand is on the table or near in the wrong place, or if you flinch the wrong way, it's going to come back and roll over your flinch. You know, like you flinch to protect yourself, like this. If you flinch, that could run over your hand. Just chop it right off. So it's a little small to cut big wood. It's not good to cut wood from the back. If you were cutting a really fine piece of carpentry like oak or teak or something like that, and you do a back cut, oh, just be careful and cut slow. 10-inch miter, I had one. I have one in America, but I took a 14-inch here. That's the smallest one that I can use as a chop saw. As far as rigid is concerned, I don't know anything about which is the better one. I would imagine Rigid makes one. I would imagine DeWalt makes one. I always waited for Milwaukee to make one. I don't know that they have one yet, if they ever had one. The best one in the world is still the Swiss one, but it's 3 or 4 times the price. I think it was called Inca, Incha. Swiss. You could look up Swiss compound miters. I know you're not going to buy one of those. No one in their right mind would. But if you were a furniture maker and you used, you know, valuable wood, teak, and building kitchen cabinets, an Inca would be on your list to buy. You wouldn't buy it even then, but it would be on your list. I think that was the name of it. Now, Samuel Smith says, unless we get voting reform, you're never going to get an accurate accounting of the votes, and you never are, and you never will. And that's where Trump is the New World Order type of guy. Because he could have mandatory from day one. He knew what the importance of this election coming up was going to be. And he didn't make it mandatory for people to get voter ID because he really doesn't care. He doesn't care because if the Democrats win, he's still going to listen. Trump has an agenda, and it's all based on the dollars. Okay. Trump's daughter married one of the richest men in Israel and most powerful men in Israel, under, you know, from in the mannerism of a family membership. Their family is very powerful in Israel. They are about money, the Trumps. They are accumulating wealth. They want transhumanism. That's my opinion. But transhumanism doesn't mean you become a machine. It means that when you are old and are going to die, that your consciousness lives on inside some sort of an entity. That's what they're going for, in my opinion. Enough money to guarantee transhumanism, just like all the rest of them are doing the same thing. Who's going to be in the club? I don't know. I don't know what the dollar sign is at transhumanism. It could be. I wouldn't think that. I would think 100 million could get you into the club. If there was a club of transhuman, if it existed right now, I would think 100 million cash would probably get you a new body or storage in some sort of robotic form. I don't know. I never looked into it. It's possible that they've already done it. It's possible they'll do it in 6 days from now. It's possible they'll do it 10 years from now. But I think that these people are accumulating wealth and power to become godlike transhumanistic beings. And Trump doesn't give a flying crap one way or another. He's already instituted enough things for his family and friends and cousins and relatives and brothers and sisters and every other former nephew and niece and aunts and uncle. He's already given them enough information to make trillions of dollars combined. So he doesn't care about voter registration. If he did, he wouldn't have started talking about it 3 months ago. He would have initialized it the day after he became in office. But he doesn't care. He's already in the big league. Or he's already in the club. Now, let me talk to you about this club that Trump is in. I used to teach hand signs. Now, this symbol has a meaning. It represents the Illuminati. Masons use it. It represents the globalists. It represents the Vatican. Angela Merkel, Vladimir Putin uses it. It's used in almost all movies. Superstars that go to the White House use it all the time. Rihanna uses it. I'm pretty sure Rihanna. What was that? What's that girl's name? The one with the big labut?
Beyonce.
Beyonce. Beyonce uses it. Madonna uses it. Everybody uses this sign. Trump uses it also. Now, there's 3 ways that this sign can have meaning. When you are stating something that's important, they'll do something like this, put it on their chest, okay? Another way that you can represent as being part of the New World Order is to put the sign down like this, whereas if you're standing up, you put it down in your lap, okay? You put it down in your lap. It's the diamond or the pyramid sign. Another way to use this sign is to put your fingers like this and show your hands like this, like you put them on the desk in this manner. Okay, that's another way to show this Illuminati / satanic / Masonic hand sign. Okay, Trump uses this sign in every single important briefing that we see in the news. The problem is you don't see it because they're not showing his hands when he uses it. Now, when I say everyone, I'm talking about when he was at the White House listening to that other black guy. Remember that black guy that was at the White House, Stacey? Make America Great Again, black guy? The famous singer, the black guy that was at the White House?
No.
That guy, Trump had his hands on the desk quite often like this. Okay. But he always does it. He does it when he was talking to Putin, he put his hands like this. When he's talking to Merkel, he put his hands on his lap like this. Merkel put her hands like this when they took a picture in France with all the politicians. They all use that hand sign. It doesn't say they're in this transhumanism club, because that might be a different thing altogether, but it does say they're affiliated with those organizations. And Trump is a New World Order type of guy. Don't ever forget it. You won't ever see it. You won't ever hear it. No one will ever be able to prove it. But he is a New World Order type of guy. Now, there's going to be some schlep on here saying that because I showed you what the symbol is, I'm a New World Order type of guy. Or I'm a Satan worshiper. Or any of that other crap. Well, I can't show you how to use the hand sign. I can tell you I used to teach the hand signs. But I can't show you what the hand signs are without showing you what the hand signs are. So because I show you to teach you what the hand signs are, what they mean, which I did not tell you the full value of the hand sign itself, I can't do that without showing you those hand signs. So don't make a mistake about what I understand and what I don't understand about things of a higher nature in politics. Trump is a New World Order type of guy. Trump is in it for the money, not so much the fortune and fame. He already had that. He's in it for the money and to secure a place in this new transhumanism society for his entire family. That includes himself, his wife, his children from all the three different wives that he's had, and maybe other members of his family. Okay, maybe his son-in-laws and his daughter-in-laws. Okay, Trump is doing this for a reason. He did not give up his luxurious lifestyle to save America only. The ultimate goal is something that benefits him, and why else would he do it? And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Not that he's a bad guy for America. He's prolonging the agony of a dying America. If he wasn't, he would have instituted, as Samuel said, voter registration ID from day one. He knew this was going to happen. They told him it was going to happen. He knew it happened in his election. He knew it happened in Obama's election. He knew it happened with people that voted for Clinton, no voter ID. He did nothing about it because Trump is a puppet of the New World Order, the same like Mr. Obama and the same like Hillary Clinton. And I can't say that about Al Sharpton. I think his ignorance is just overwhelming, as is Maxine Waters. Nobody would probably ever let her become transhuman and exist in the virtual reality world, because it would probably bring the IQ down 50 or 60 points. Maxine Waters. Don't get me started on Maxine Waters or Al Sharpton. Scott, good night. 12:59. Okay, good night, Scott. I will talk with you later. Good. Okay, good. I did. All right. I'll talk with you later. Well, John Boone just taught me something. He says there's no way to pay for a super chat on Google Hangout. No, I don't think that's true. Maybe it doesn't show, but I've seen people that do super chats. I mean, live streams on Google Hangouts that get super chat money. Maybe it's not something I have that's visible. Thanks for that. So because from now on, I'm not going to do this Google Hangout. I didn't use it anyway. Well, thank you for the information. I didn't know that that wasn't possible. Okay. From now on, I just do live streams. There is no super chat. The gentleman who I sold sent information to come here and ask me for the link when he gets here, which I was going to post, and then he would come on and talk to me. He didn't come and ask me for the link, so I didn't post the link, and no one else asked me for the link which is okay. Samuel Smith. Now, Samuel Smith is wielding some humor. He says that what John Boone says is not true. John Boone says there's no way here to pay for a super chat, only for American card holders, Amex, Visa, or MasterCard. Okay, that may be true. There may be not a super chat option. Not be a way of ideal or PayPal. Damn sorry, no burger for Michael and Daisy. I may be telling the truth, and he may be right, and I may not have it applied to Google Hangout, which I'm never going to do again, because no one ever, the people I sent out the information to didn't join the super chat anyway. So that's the end of these Google Hangouts. Now Samuel Smith is wielding some humor here. John Boone back for a free ride. Samuel is warming up the old wrench again. Michael Fazio, say the word. So Samuel, he might be telling the truth. I don't know. I actually don't know. It's only the second Google Hangout I did, Samuel, and I'm not sure if he's telling the truth or if there is a way to do super chat. I didn't initialize it. You have to. There are advanced settings that I didn't go into. Maybe it's in the advanced settings. I don't know. You also have to sign something when you get super chats that you will only do normal videos, which, this was a pretty normal video. First one ever, but this is first time for everything. YouTube says, Newt Gingrich said, Newt Gingrich. Now, here's a guy that you're going to take this piece of garbage's word. He's a politician, number one. They hate Trump because he's not taking the oath of a secret society. Give it up. Don't believe that. Please don't believe that. He was given the oath, whether he likes it or not. He was given instructions. He's not going to break any of those instructions. It's a playbook. Newt Gingrich, that piece of walking, talking fecal tissue. Yeah, Samuel, if he wanted to, God, let's forget about John Boone. Maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe I didn't initiate super chat. Latching bird, Mad Maxine's wig hunts small mammals at night. There's a man who I would like to meet when I go back to America. There's a man, actually, Lackland. Bird. Okay, look, dude. Last time I was in America, I told you I had some things for you. Okay, I have no use for those things in the Philippines. Before I go back to America, or when I get there, I sending them through the mail. I'm not sure about that either. But I have some things for you I want you to get. I'm not going to need them here in the Philippines. Well, I'm not going to be able to get them here to the Philippines. Thanks for stopping by. Yes, Samuel, I think he is telling the truth. Wait a second. I think Samuel even has a... Yeah, there's... Honey, come here for a minute. Do you see? Samuel says, okay, you understand my message to you. Thank you. And that is not a lot of things, but there's some things that just you're a collector. So Samuel says, is there a dollar sign anywhere on this thing where it says dollar? Nothing?
Only the links and the viewers.
Hmm.
On the right side.
Wait a second. Let's see up on top here. No. The chat window? I can't see the chat either. Nothing still? You see it?
We need to minimize the screen, I think. The right side.
Minimize that.
Nothing.
Yeah. He might be telling the truth, Sam. It's okay. Next time, John Boone, if you're interested. Mike P says this is the first time you heard about the super chat line. It's not the first time I mentioned it, Mike P. And I actually think I know who you are. But if you're interested in having a question addressed, next time I have a live stream, you are welcome to come on and buy us lunch, and we will address your question. I provide you, by the way, in case you missed it in the first portion of this, I provide people here, not just you, but I provide these people entertainment. Most of you people, well, a lot of people in the background that you never hear from, what they're doing is waiting for me to make a mistake so they could report me. We have a lot of people out there that would like to see my channel get taken down because I tell people the truth. Now there could be these little cretins that have no views, no channel, never made a video. These little creatures that come on, they would like to see my channel taken down. So they wait for me to say something wrong. Okay, I don't do that. Okay, I have cognizance. I don't come on here drunk. I don't come on here, and if I curse, it's a simple, as a passing word, not necessarily directed towards somebody. There are rules. I follow the rules. But anyway, if you don't like my rules, there's no reason for you to be here. I provide you with entertainment. You don't want to buy me lunch? That's fine. Don't ask me questions. And then I don't have to waste my time reading people's questions, because if you were really interested in finding out the answers, go to somebody else's channel and ask them questions. A lot of people like to hear their name mentioned because they need to hear their name mentioned. Just like I like my name to be mentioned because I make sense and I make videos about real topics. Now, when I go to the tourist office or I go into the immigration office, or I go into the local police department, or I go anywhere, people, hey, how you doing? Because they like my videos. They may not agree. A lot of the Filipinos don't understand the politics of America, and I don't get involved with the politics of the Philippines. But people like my videos. I provide entertainment. I provide something for them to do. I give them a different viewpoint in life. And if you don't think that's worth anything, well, I don't think your comment is worth anything. It's not like I'm asking you to pay my rent. I think that if you throw us a hamburger, the hamburgers cost. Oh, by the way, hamburgers cost like $5 here. Okay, so if you can't afford $5, then I understand that too. That's fine. But I provide you with 2 or 3 hours of information 2 or 3 times a week, and now you're telling me my time is not valuable. Now, John Boone is not saying my time is not valuable. He's telling people that you can't give money. Would he give money? Probably not, because he never has before. And this isn't the first time that I've mentioned it. And that's okay. And he actually just taught me something by putting out an intelligent comment. It's okay that you don't give us a super chat donation for dinner or a lunch. But it's not okay for me to spend my time answering. Do you know that I had 240 comments on my Obama live stream video last week? 240. Imagine if I addressed each one of those for just 2 minutes. That would be 480 minutes of just addressing the comments. It would have nothing to do with my live stream. My live stream would have went on for 12 hours if I would have addressed any of the comments, but I didn't. Okay, now there were 240 comments in the super chat. Somebody in the chat window of my Obama live stream. You know how many I can see? You know how many showed up? 19. That's it. 19. Google removed 221 comments. But they said they were spam. Had I not scrolled up from the end of the live stream and copied all of those 240 comments, I wouldn't even have known how many there were. But I did. Okay, so Google is just screwing me 16 different ways from Sunday. And that's okay. It's their site. It's basically free to put the videos on YouTube. We don't pay. They make, by taking money away from me and my channel, if I was used to make $200, $120 a day, they take 50% of that, or 49%. They made $60 a day from my channel. Now they let me make $3 a day, let's say, and they take $1.50 of that. It's hurting their bottom line as much as it's hurting mine, but it's they own the company. So John Boone basically helped me understand that there's no super chat on Google Hangouts. Oh, wait, Samuel is saying there is, and telling us how to do it. John Boone says, well, I just can figure it out how, well, I just cannot figure it out how. Okay, John Boone says he's trying to figure it out. And then Samuel answers just 8 minutes ago, click if you want to donate money. John Boone, Samuel says, click. Samuel Smith says, John Boone, click the $ at your name. Oh, now John Boone's using another excuse. Only if I have one of those cards. In other words, only if he's signed up for Super Chat. Okay, so John Boone, you just heard your name for the last time. I gave you the benefit of telling the truth, which I believe you are, and you don't have a $ because you're not part of the chat. And you have taught me to never go on Google Hangout again. And then if I'll say it at the beginning and every half hour or so, if you have a question for me and you want to buy us lunch, I'll answer one of your questions. Of course, it's not that important. And YouTube says, of course, Gingrich is a Jesuit. POS. Now, I don't know what POS means. And you can't write it down in full. That's one thing the chat window went. Yeah, they all are, just like the Pope is the Jesuit Pope. They're all in on the game. Gingrich worked for Rockefeller. Rockefeller, they're all criminals, and Trump is now part of what is known as the deep state. There's no difference between Trump and Obama. It's just one of them is more corrupt than the other. And you know what? You may never know which one is more corrupt than the other, because you're never going to see what went on behind the closed doors yesterday, today, or tomorrow. YouTube says right corner of the comment space, maybe there's a $ there. Samuel Smith says bottom right-hand side. Bottom right-hand side, I will send a snapshot to Daisy. Okay, thank you, Samuel. Yeah, John Boone says he's not a member of the... Oh, I mentioned his name again. Sorry, that won't happen. YouTube, you are the person that did mention what happened to the comments. See, now I remember the important things in life. What they're important to me. Okay, this guy, woman, whoever YouTube is, said, what happened to the comments? And I'm going, well, I can see the comments because I still had the live stream window up in one of my tabs. And when I scrolled up, I could see all the comments. And, but I have all my live streams, I copy the comments if I remember. I forgot a few of them, but I copy each comment. And what you do is you press down the left mouse key and you scroll up from the last comment right to the top of the page, and it all gets highlighted. And then it's all highlighted, and you right click and copy. Now you could do the same thing. You copy the comments. Then you open up a Word document. It has to be Microsoft Word or something similar. You open up a Word document, which I have my live streams in, and you paste it next to the title of the video. And then at the end of the video, I take a screenshot so I know which video the comments come from without reading words, because it's going to be, some of the comments go down 15, 16 pages of comments because I have it in big letters. So there is a way I copy the comments. So YouTube is the one that said, what happened to the comments? So I went back when I shut the live stream off and I went to my video section, and then I went to the video. You could only see like 19 comments. I could be wrong, but I remember counting 19 comments. So YouTube removed 221 comments out of 240 comments. Well, they're doing the same thing. I had 330-something comments on November 4th. And when I look at my comments from November 4th, I had 9 comments for the whole day. But 314 comments were sent to my videos and channels. But only 9 or 10 of them could I see. Mike P, thank you for the information. I don't know if that's a viable link. I can't really click the link. Yeah, I guess I could click the link, but I won't. I don't click links. And unfortunately, that's it's not a YouTube link, so I wouldn't click it. I don't suggest. I don't click links. I get people that I know that send me stuff that they send me a link. Okay, that's a valid link, but I don't click links. Okay, now I'm pretty sure that Google's Mike P is probably trying to help because Google has their algorithm may be screwing me on views and comments, but their algorithm doesn't usually let any kind of harmful link into their system. If you put a link that's hazardous or has a virus in it, usually it kicks it right out before it gets plastered. The DuPonts, yep, DuPont. Everybody thinks the DuPonts are because they're in the Midwest. The DuPonts destroyed the Great Lakes with chemicals. They own a majority of the lakefront property of Lake Michigan. I know because I lived there, used to. Okay, Mike P says it's a popular image upload site. Simple. Okay, I believe you, Mike. I don't see any reason why you would put a link in there. I just don't click links. And my computer, once I clicked the link from a girl said she was in the Philippines. I don't know where she was from. Oh boy, that was a mistake. I got to tell you, once you click one of those links, now it would be in my phone, so it wouldn't be such a bad mistake. But even Daisy got a virus in her phone from clicking a bad link. I'm not saying your link is bad, by the way. I'm just saying, I'm just telling people what can happen. You can get an email with a link in it, and you click the link, and you'll see a smiley face, or could see a picture of a cat or a dog, and then you see another one and another one and another, and they just cascade onto this. It takes over your computer. I don't know what kind of virus that's called. That happened to me once. I can tell you how to fix that. You can't fix it though, unless you're a computer wizard. No, Norton is not. At the time I had Norton Security. Man, not taking it out of your computer. Norton Security let it go right through that link. There's a way to fix it. Maybe I'll do a live stream on how to fix a virus. I know how to do it. I know it's free. It takes all day. Could take 2 days. Could take 3 days. But I know how to do it for free. And maybe I'll do a live stream on that. You know, Samuel Smith. Yeah, you know, Samuel, you read the same thing I read last week. Thank you for blocking the link. Yeah, Mike P, this is some information for you as well. I have to think for just a moment. Okay, in Europe, in order to suppress the truth, they instituted years back that you're not allowed, and Google did this too, but and Facebook, Google, Twitter, you're not allowed to provide a link to a website to prove that what you're saying about a product, a person, or a thing, or a place is true. You're not allowed to, like, if I said something bad about the Pope and that 500 priests were charged with pedophilia, let's just say I said that. Probably a very low number according to the real statistics, but let's just say I said that. Okay, I can say that. I'm allowed to say that. And I can say, according to the article that I read. But in Europe, if you post a link to the article, you could be fined or arrested. It's against the law to post links. I'm not sure if what links are against the law, all of them, but they can come and arrest you or fine you for posting a link to the article. They want to do the same thing on Drudge and the New York, any other so-called truth website. They want to do the same thing for people like Alex Jones and David Knight and the other guy, Rowan Smith or whatever. I don't like him. I can't remember his name. I really don't like the guy. The head guy that works for Alex Jones, young guy. I just despise everything about him. He's fake. He's young. He's big, good looking, but I want to give him a sledgehammer and see. Let him. I want to watch him bust up some concrete with a 6-foot bar and a sledgehammer, and maybe him and Alex Jones. I want to see the two of them do a man's work before I would ever give them even the smallest amount of respect, which I have none of for either one. I don't know his name, but they want to take your ability to provide links to any other website and off of and it's any link, any link. Now they didn't do it here, but they want to do it. So Samuel is good in providing protection with the wrench, wielding the wrench properly. YouTube says his name is Owen Schroyer. That's right. I would, I, I don't know who he is. I don't know how he got the job. I would imagine he's somehow related to Alex Jones. Um, I don't know who. I just despise him. I despise him more than Alex Jones. Way more. So much more. It's just I despise. It's not for anything he ever did or said. It's just something about his persona. Now Alex Jones did create something huge and immense, but I don't like him either. He's been bought and paid for by the same people that own Trump and Obama and Clinton. Jones is now, does he give you more? Yeah, he does. He gives you the information. Why? Here's my take on Alex Jones. He's providing all this information which nobody else can provide. Now, they haven't killed him or his family because they're allowing him to provide the information, and they're allowing him to provide the information to see who goes to his channel, and they're usurping every piece of information about everybody that goes to his channel. In other words, if you become an info warrior and you process and pass on the truth, they're usurping all your personal information. Then maybe somebody on the info warrior stream or in his website will say, I'm also this or I'm also that, and let's get together. And that's how the government is collecting information on you people that become part of Alex Jones's website. Okay, so that's what his purpose is in life. He gives you the information, but if they didn't want him to give you this so-called super secret information, they would kill him. It's just that simple. Not so complicated. It's pretty simple. Now, with me, I have 17,000 followers. Google just blocked my access to my 17,500 subscribers and 3,000 Google YouTube subscribers. So, do I give you pieces of information about super secret stuff? No. The dollar bill stuff is nobody else can give you information about. Now, if they read my book, maybe they could. John Boone, if you want to donate money, why don't you buy my book? If you feel feisty, let us know what you think about my book. You're on every one of my live streams and now my Google Hangout. Why don't you buy my book? $1.99. $1.99. You think you can handle it? Go to the link on my page if you're interested in and out of that $1.99, I think I get 32 cents. Amazon takes 70% of the money, 80%, something like that. I think I get 32 cents when I sell a book. Anyway, give me my 32 cents. You will see where your what do they call that? Your affiliation lies. I don't care whether you buy the book or not, really do. But that your name will never be mentioned again, unless me and Daisy, we like hamburgers. But you did teach me a lesson, so I thank you about that. You taught me. Now I know where the dollar is, and you have to be a member to give Super Chat money, and you do. You're right about that. Okay, so YouTube. Okay. Owen Schroyer. YouTube says Owen Schroyer, that's the guy's name, is a clone of Alex Jones. YouTube. Drudge is a huge, YouTube says, Drudge, I've heard this before, dude. I wouldn't doubt it one bit either. I got to tell you, I had an uncle that was gay. I knew, everybody knew he was gay since we were born, so I don't have a problem with gay. What I have a problem is people that are gay that hang out in the closet. That I have a problem with. Pretending to have a girlfriend and not having a girlfriend, and 6 years on YouTube with no girlfriend and talking about your girlfriend in almost every live stream or video. Man, I have a problem with that. Man is that there's a psychosis going on inside his head that they can believe that somebody doesn't see through the facade. We'll get to that in another live stream. Now, YouTube says, Drudge, look for the word lizard, Lizard, like a reptilian, cold-blooded. Watch when you see the word lizard as a title of my live stream or video. You are going to be in for a YouTube treat. Drudge is a huge force and gay. I guess he's talking about, well, Drudge is the name of the guy, Matt Drudge. He's a huge force and he's gay. They want to stop him. The only way is to claim intellectual property, hence ending free speech. That's the word I was looking for. They want to stop you from passing on links of intellect. They're claiming intellectual property for just giving links. So now you can, like, let's say you take a definition from the Encyclopedia Britannica. And I think the Britannica is copyrighted, so you can't copy it. Okay, so you can take a sentence and put it in quotation marks or a small portion of a paragraph and put it in quotation marks and then give credit. Then you have to go to the back of the book that you're writing and then give credit to this author of the Encyclopedia Britannica after you get permission from the author that wrote the article in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Do you know how hard it is to get intellectual property rights? You have to find the author, send them a letter, and get permission in the form of a letter to use the specific article only to put it in as a segment of your video. Could take months to get in touch with people through phone calls and emails to get permission to use one link to their page. That's why I don't do it. All right, gentlemen, ladies, thanks for stopping by. No, unhypnotized. You can't. Thank you, John Boone. I don't know what that means. I did set a link to your book where they can buy it. They can buy it. Very nice. Thank you. I know that, I know that people are pretty paralyzed money-wise, so we're not going to get involved with that. Thank you very much for sending the link. YouTube. Thank you, great Fazio. See, now YouTube says, if I go through all of YouTube's comments, he only does positive stuff. And he brought to my attention that they reduced the comments to next to nothing. And I got to tell you, when I say he brought it to my attention, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with this live stream when I'm done. I'm going to screenshot the picture. I have to add several tags to the video description that are not in there now. I'm going to copy, or I don't know that I can copy the comments because they're in my cell phone. Well, I may not even be able to copy the comments, which is something I don't like, which is why I'm never doing another Google Hangout. But if I can copy the comments, I'm going to copy the comments. You think that the video is over, there's still another hour's work. I'm going to add to the description box some of the things I talked about in the video in case anybody's interested. I'm going to add tags. But had YouTube not mentioned that the comments were missing, I had already done tags in the description box. I may not ever look at that video again. I may answer comments from the video, but I may never look at the video again because I know what I said, and I don't have to go to the video page to answer the comments. I can answer them on a comments page. So I would have never noticed that the chat window comments disappeared if YouTube didn't make me aware of it. So there are things I learn every day. Why YouTube? Well, on November 4th, I had 3,223 comments this month, the last 30-day cycle. On November 4th, I had 300. It was 330 plus 331, 334, 320, it was something like that. It was over 320 something comments. Okay, I don't remember every number. Okay, but of those 320 comments, I only saw 19 on 9 on the day of November 4th. It has nothing to do with the live stream. It just has to do with comments in total. So out of 320 plus comments, I only saw 9 for the whole day. But I got 320 that day. I'm not getting my comments, which is okay, because I don't want to spend all day answering people's comments. I may only just do live streams for the next 10 days and not even do videos. And there will all be live streams with your ability to buy us a hamburger. People that have already bought us a hamburger, no need to reevaluate. I'm not interested. But if you have a question and I don't know who you are, and I don't know that you're a long-term subscriber like Shirley 29. I don't know who she is, but she's been a subscriber for 8 years. Okay? I would answer any one of her questions. Maybe for Christmas and Easter, we wish each other a happy holiday, and that's it. Okay? I am sure if I went back to America, whoever she or he is, they'd let me stay at their house without asking. She is or he is the person, I'm pretty sure it's a woman, but that would be the kind of person that I would answer the comment to. 6, 7, 5-year long-term subscriber, always adding to the conversation. Okay? But if I don't know who you are, and I have 17,000, most of the people that come here troll me, they ask me a question, and they just want to see their question answered and me mention their name. You know what? If you want to get your name mentioned, start your own channel. It's real simple. Just fix a topic in your head and stick to that topic. And in today's world, to start a new channel and to get 1,000 subscribers or 400 hours, whatever they require in order for you to go to monetize channel and then go to live stream, just try to do that on your own. Go ahead, try to do it. I did it when it was a lot easier. But you want your name mentioned, you want to be famous, start a channel and make videos. And if I like your videos, I'll let you post your video links and videos to my page. Unfortunately, that didn't work out with some clown who asked me about 2 months ago, Michael Fazio. Whoa, isn't that endearing? Dick that he is. Michael Fazio, my wife and I watch all your videos. We love your videos. I'm getting schmoozed now. I know I'm getting schmoozed, okay? Well, and we are just newly starting a channel in the Philippines. And I'm asking you permission if we can post our videos on your channel. So I was a nice guy, and I said, yeah, sure, it's okay. And what does the guy post? He posts garbage. His videos suck. His concepts suck. The name of the videos, titles that he chooses suck. And then he posts the link promoting somebody else's channel who I have nothing to do with, which sucks because I'm a nice guy. I would have let him post his video about his wife and children and his experience in the Philippines. And what does the piece of shit do? He posts links to a channel that I would have nothing to do with. I don't associate myself with the channel. I don't. And then he goes on live streams with different pieces of shit and compliments these guys who I wouldn't give the time of day to. So, you know, I'm a nice guy. But if you want to start a channel and you have a subject or topics that I'm interested in, I'll let you post the links to my channel. But don't come to my channel because I have a few subscribers. And then you want to, Michael, can we post the links of our experience in the Philippines? Yeah, sure, you could do that. I helped out a couple of people. And all of the people I helped out that had their new channels in the Philippines turned out to be total pieces of garbage. Every one of them. Every one of them. But I'll still give somebody else a chance. But the latest piece of garbage comes to my channel 2 months ago. We're going to start a channel for my wife and family and our experience in the Philippines. And we're small. Can I post my videos to your page? Sure. You could do that. And then he posts some benign video about him and his kids. That's okay. And then he posts a link. And I go to the links before I let them stay there any length of time. They come up as spam. And this one did come up as spam because YouTube is promoting the channel that he was sending the link to. Okay, so I go to the channel, I go to the video, and it's all about a guy who I don't dislike, but I don't like. But I have left comments on the guy's channel. He's never seen fit to answer any of my comments in the years that I've seen him on YouTube. And then this clown that asks me if he could post links. Then he uses the name of the guy's channel to get even more views. And then I watch his video, which is 12 minutes of boring garbage. And all he did was promote the other guy's channel in the smallest way, but he used the name of the other guy's channel as the title of his video and devoted maybe 20 seconds of a 12-minute video to discussing and not even talking about the other guy, just posting by using something like Movie Maker or something like that, posting words onto the screen. And then the words go past you so fast you can't read them. It's a garbage, whatever garbage Movie Maker he's using, not Movie Maker, but whatever garbage program he's using, maybe something from his camera. You can't see the words. They go past the screen so fast, and he's promoting a channel that I want nothing to do with. So if you want to go out and you want to see your name in lights and on YouTube, go make a channel. And if I like what you do, I'll let you post the links to my channel. How's that for being a nice guy? Maybe you could even buy me lunch. But no more people asking me to post links on my channel unless you got something to offer, whatever it is. Samuel Smith, you went easy on the guy for calling me a douche. You're a nice guy. Samuel is actually a nice man. Yeah, or a vet, or Raven, or Raven. Yeah, in other words, the guy sucks. That's all there is to it. The guy is just a leech of society, I would call him. And I hope he's watching this video because he knows who he is. He's a leech. Now, if I made a video about that channel that he's talking about, it would have some sustenance to it. And maybe I have. But it would be truthful information that couldn't be challenged. But this guy's going around using somebody else's famous channel name to try to clone some, you know, to try. And if you watch his videos suck too. It's not like he makes a decent video and uses the other guy's name. The guy's videos suck. His content sucks. The way he can't relate to the people in the street, that sucks. It's just about him and his wife and his kids. Okay, that's a great subject matter. But your videos suck, dude. And then you come on as a false provider of false information, and then you put a link on a page, and you know I would not allow that. So you didn't put the name of the title of the video in above the link. You just threw the link in there because I gave you permission. You gave me some benign bullshit video, and then you give me a video that you knew I wouldn't like. You suck, dude. YouTube said it best. You suck.
You want to eat?
Yes, I do want to eat. Okay. I never heard of you before unhypnotized. You're not my friend. You don't get answers to private questions. I told you how that has to happen. You can't, if you can't hit the donate button for a lunch for Daisy and I or a dinner for Daisy and I, your questions don't get addressed. Okay? I'm done answering people's questions that I don't know who you are, not long-term subscribers, not Patreon members, not Super Chat contributors. It's not going to happen. You asked me 8 or 9 questions in the last few minutes. You're lucky that I don't delete them all. You're being obnoxious and you're being a pain in the ass. How do you like me now? Yeah, I'm sure it is, Samuel. Definitely trolling the channel. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Samuel, thank you for your wrench. Wielding the wrench. Thank you very much, Samuel. And Pam Kerr, thank you for stopping by. Scott Del Fuego, thank you for stopping by. Jack Thompson, thank you for stopping by. I'm sure there are people that I forgot their names that I wish to thank for stopping by. So thank you for stopping by. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Daisy. Just shut the microwave off for a minute. Come over here and say goodbye, please. By the way, those little black things, they are toasted cockroaches, which basically they taste like root beer. Those little, remember those little barrel root beer candies? Well, when you toast a cockroach with caramel flavoring on it, and then you put them in water like this, and you toast it at just the right temperature, the little burgers taste like root beer. Very good. Not only are they good, they're good for you. Honey, please. Okay, so I'll read the last comments. Watch, Samuel, you have a wrench, right? How about we remove unhypnotized comments altogether? Just block all of his comments. So there you go. So what you people, some of you do, let's do that. Thank you, Samuel. Okay, so you see now, all the time you spent asking me the same trolling type comments, yeah, they just all disappeared. Honey, come here. Come on. Okay, this is Michael Fazio. I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Daisy wants to cook. and telling all my YouTube friends and subscribers and the trolls, it's not going to happen anymore. If I have to go through the trouble of reading that nonsense and you don't get the hint that I don't answer your question and you're not contributing in any way in the form of really intelligent questions, super chat lunches or dinners for Daisy and I, or you're not a member of my Patreon account, you are going the way of the dodo bird, dodo bird, yeah. So, unhypnotized, I made you famous. I mentioned your name. You aggravated me. You insulted me by continuing with the nonsense. If I don't answer your first 2 or 3 questions, it's because I don't want to answer your questions. It's because you haven't followed my instructions. If you don't follow my instructions, which you don't have to do, then don't come to my page and ask me questions. But because of your ignorance and the fact that you became belligerent towards the end, now all your comments disappeared. So you just wasted an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of your life, and nobody will ever know that you were here. How does that work out for you? That worked out good, you being a troll? Is that what it? Okay, honey. Okay, this is Michael Fazio. I'm going to stay on after. This is Michael Fazio and Daisy May in the Philippines, baby. I'm Pink Kermie. Okay, so I'm going to read the last comments. I'm going to say goodbye. Yes, Samuel, it is done. Samuel says, no trolls allowed. Samuel, I really wish to say thank you. Maybe it's going to take me at least an hour and a half to finish the tags, and I have a phone call to make. Well, I want to call you up and say hello to you again and thank you in person. So I don't know, what time are you going to stay up until tonight? What time will you be up until, Samuel? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching my live stream, my Google Hangout. This is my last Google Hangout. Didn't work out. You'll be up until 4 o'clock, which is 3 more hours. Okay. I will give you a call. Maybe I'll even do that before I finish the task. Let me see. We didn't have much of a breakfast and we didn't have lunch, but we're about to have lunch. So thanks everybody for stopping by. And I have eliminated the trolls with the help of my friend Samuel Smith. And pretty much no more trolls come to my channel. That's a good thing. So God day to everybody from Michael Fazio and in the Philippines, baby. I do have one prop. Where is my Mr. Trump prop? Hold on. The bamboo thing. You don't know? Really? Are you serious? You know where everything is. Not that. I'm looking for my Trump doll. You see it up on top there, honey? No? What about over there? No? Huh.
I know you used it last time.
I know. Hold on. I really wanted to give you, I haven't done much with Mr. Trump lately, but he does have a full head of hair now. It didn't fall off. You see it down there? No? Well, that's pretty strange. Yeah, that thing is pretty big, actually. Not behind your hat up there? I lost Mr. Trump. What, honey? Right, oh, you jump up there and get it for me, please. Found Trump. He's right ahead of me. Thank you. I'm going to put this one on the bottom. Here, we're going to... Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, we had a typhoon.
Watching.
What?
He's watching while you're streaming.
We had a typhoon the other day. Mr. Trump, we have typhoon damage in the Philippines. I just told you that Mr. Trump had a full head of hair, and I had this is basically just some. Oh, there's some hair left. Look, there it is, right there. Not much, but he had a full head of hair, and the typhoon blew his hair off his head. But I do have backup hair, but it's up next to the one. Mr. Trump, this is my version of a doll, and it's I made this several years ago when oh God, this is going back when Mr. Trump first decided to become, to try to go for his presidency. And what I did was I carved this out of a block of bamboo, and then I took my real hair, and I with the lint and everything in the hair, and I gave it to Mr. Trump, and I put it on his head like this, like this, and I gave him a toupee type of a thing. But now, from the typhoon, this Mr. Trump has suffered typhoon damage. That's a first. That one of my puppets and dolls or figurines have suffered from a typhoon. I'm sorry, Mr. Trump. So, Mr. Trump, any last words? Vote red! Vote red! Vote red. You people, if you don't see the comedy in my video, the comedic nature of my videos, and you don't see the truth in my nature, and you vote for Democrats, if you vote for Democrats, the world, society, as soon as that you keep voting for Democrats and keep putting these morons and these people with these really terrible policies in office, and you'll see the destruction of the American society, and the rest of the world will follow suit. Not a big jump. Once the American economy, why do I do these videos? I do these videos because I pay attention to the politics. I pay attention to what's happening in the money and the value of money here in the Philippines. Goodbye, Samuel. God day to you as well. Red wave coming. That's right. I do these videos because I want to see America succeed. Maybe something that I don't talk about. Maybe I have other interests in America, and I want America to succeed, both financially and in safety. For maybe there are members of my family that I wish to see do well, or at least be able to have their own children. Okay, maybe I do it because of money. Whatever reason I do it for, I'm telling you to vote red, or you will see the decline of America happen very rapidly from that day forward. From tomorrow forward, tomorrow in your life, today in my life, today is already 11/6 at 11/6. It's 11/7 here, but actually it's 11/6 in your day. Today is the day to vote red, and I'm telling you that if you don't vote red, you're going to see the decline of America happen much more rapidly than you thought. As far as Trump's border wall is concerned, it needs to be built. It will take 55 years at the current speed it's being built at. It could be addressed very rapidly if he ever decided to actually do it, but that was never his intention. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Trumpster. No, Trump doesn't fool me. If he wanted that border wall built, it would have been built already. If he truly wanted it built, just like if he truly wanted, now here's some truth. If he truly wanted voter ID, voter registration to happen, he should have started that the day after he became president. But he didn't, because it's part of the plan. Trista Trump, Mr. Trump is a New World Order type of guy. Don't ever make a mistake and think otherwise. Because if you make that mistake and think otherwise, then you have been bamboozled. You have been hoodwinked. You have been hoodwinked by an entity of the New World Order. Anytime you ever think these politicians are doing anything for you, You're mistaken. They only do it for themselves. That's the way politics works. No politician ever gave up a cushy job at Lockheed Martin for a lousy $180,000 a year, which is the way they look at it, and hasn't become a millionaire in less than 2 or 3 years. They don't do it for you. They do it for themselves. The money they get under the table, you'll never know about. The cash, the diamonds, the jewelry, you'll never see it. It's never declared. Politicians are in it for themselves. And so is Mr. Trump. He's just the best thing that you have to prolong the agony of a dying nation called America. And with that, and he always says, and God bless America. He's got this new commercial. The only commercial I like that he does is that one with the illegal immigrant that had all kinds of trouble. I don't know if I think the guy murdered somebody at the end of the day. That's a great commercial because that's what's happening to America. And you vote for the Democrats, there will be no border wall. There will be no illegal immigration policy instituted. There will be no vetting at the border, and there will be no America. So vote red, or consider America to be in the fastest decline that you'll ever see, even faster than Mr. Obama. Trump is your last best hope, and he is a new world order type of guy. That's the truth. I'm being Permy. Say goodbye. Bye-bye, everybody. Vote red. Vote red. Vote red. Oh, look, Mr. Trump. It's a pyramid, like you make with your hands. Oh, Michael Fazio, I feel very much at home. That's right, baby. Vote red. Vote red, or America is rhymes with red. Vote red, vote red, vote red, vote red. Vote red, vote red, vote red, vote red. Vote red. Vote red. Vote red. Vote red.